And
Manufactured locally for the Carolinas. This is the Rob Brown Show. The Fan Upstate.
Good morning. Good night. Good morning. Good night. Good morning. Good night.
you know, I had to clean my glasses, and I'm sorry that my inability to see resulted in all of you having to go through that.
You do understand that there's some people on their way home because they just worked the night shift, and there's some people getting up.
3 of them.
A lot more people work the night shift than you. So you're saying there's no traffic on the road when you're on your way in?
No. I don't mean they had to put up with that in terms of, sorry you have to put up with being up so early in the morning. I mean that you spammed them with that sounder before we even said hello.
Shut the hell up.
I get told that a lot too.
Would you prefer that one?
Yeah. Yes, I would. Yes, I absolutely and entirely would.
I'm more of a glass half full kind of guy. So,
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into Thursday edition of the Rob Brown Show goes now. This, friends, is the Fan Upstate. Hello to you. And how do you do? Wonderful to be with you on a Thursday morning that I assume eventually is going to turn into being a beautiful, wonderful morning across the lovely Palmetto State. For now, it's very dark outside because it's 6 o'clock in the morning. Doesn't matter to us. We're still here hitting it at 100.
America.
Great to have you all. I am Rob Brown. On the other side of the metaphorical glass, I am the guy in charge of not just this radio broadcast, ladies and gentlemen, but every broadcast that you've ever loved at all. He, of course, is the Sultan of Swag, the Professor of Perfection, the Wizard of Wave himself. The great one, Lonzo, is here.
I would like to add carrier of plagues.
Now, you got to have some alliteration there,
Yeah, all right. I'm just going to go with carrier of plagues.
Let's change it to the Sultan of Sickness.
There we go. That actually, Sultan of Sick sounds better. Bruh, he's a Sultan of Sick.
We got a day lined up for you today, my friends. A lot to get to, a lot to discuss, a lot to talk about on the radio broadcast today. Jason Kidd said that Luka Doncic is better than Dirk Nowitzki ever was. And because that wasn't quite enough, that Luka needs to go ahead and be mentioned in the GOAT conversation with Kobe LeBron. And yes, he did invoke the name of his airness, Michael Jordan. I'd like to have that discussion. I'd like to have that debate later in the show because I know it's going to tick a bunch of people off, and that makes me laugh. So we'll get to that later on in the show. We have got, of course, coming up this morning, Rashad Beard of the Panther Nation podcast. He will join us in just a little while from now. Lot of happenings in the world of the Carolina Panthers right now. Obviously, we got a new head coach in the building last week. Obviously, the assistant coaching staff has been getting filled out over the past week. But there are 2 stories that I think we need to get into. Number 1, reports started circulating yesterday after I think some of us, and by some of us, I mean me, myself, had talked myself into allowing myself the gratification of believing that Ejiro Evero might stick around for 1 more year. The reports now circulating that he might want out, that he may want to take a job elsewhere as a DC elsewhere, creating a situation where now Dave Canellis might have to end up getting a new DC on top of the new OC that he hired earlier this week. But there is good news. If I asked you, ladies and gentlemen, what team you would say has been the model of consistency over the past, say, 6 years of National Football League play, what team would you answer? Pop quiz. I would be willing to guess that you would say the Kansas City Chiefs. Well, the Carolina Panthers have raided the front office of the KC Chiefs and taken away their vice president of football operations, who is now on his way to Charlotte, where he will serve in the same role. Brant Tillis has been in KC for like a lot of years now and was the negotiator of the majority of their contracts. That includes the $500 million contract that they signed with one Patrick Mahomes. So we'll talk about how that impacts the front office of the Panthers, and more importantly, your opinion on it. We got that coming up later on in the show. It is Thursday, which of course means alongside Rashad Beard, that coming up for the first time in 3 weeks, I might point out. Fight Club with the great one, Lonzo, comes up later. We have got last week's Royal Rumble to discuss. We've got some comings and goings on NXT and AEW. And by the way, what a hilariously pathetic crowd in New Orleans last night for that show. I am to the point where I'm like, yep, they're done. They're toast. So we'll talk Fight Club coming up at 9:20 a.m. Looking forward to that. We have got a lot of stuff that we need to get into on the show. But let's jump in with this real quick. I have been in multiple long-term relationships in my life over the years. And one of the things that I have tried to do, although unsuccessfully, is when a relationship comes to an end, I try not to say anything disparaging about the other party involved. Now, sometimes the behavior of the other party is just so egregious that you kind of can't help it, right? Sometimes you move to another city in a state away from your entire family, find out that they're sleeping with their gym instructor while lying to you, and then their dog kills your dog. Hypothetically speaking, of course. And you just got to pop off. You just got to vent every now and then, right? Well, with that being said, Terry Rozier is a former Charlotte Hornet. Now, we are going to talk some Hornets basketball as the program rolls on because, as I have mentioned to you for the past 2 weeks, my dudes, my dudettes, my friends, my family, it's basketball season, okay? We got a Super Bowl left to play. We got a Pro Bowl left to play. We got the NHL All-Star Game this weekend. We got the NBA All-Star Game coming up in a couple of weeks, but it's basketball season. Terry Rozier was a Charlotte Hornet and a good one, arguably the second best on the team. Some would argue the best on the team. Now he is no longer a Charlotte Hornet. He is now a Miami Heat. Terry Rozier got sent down to sunny South Florida in return for veteran guard Kyle Lowry and some picks, a protected first-round pick. Well, once Scary Terry got down to Charlotte, not going great for Miami. They're in the midst of a 7-game losing streak. It is one of the worst losing streaks that Miami has been on, like under Eric Spoelstra, period. It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. So, with that being said, Terry Rozier was asked, are you having flashbacks? Are you having flashbacks to Charlotte with this losing streak at Miami? And he said, and I quote, "It's the total opposite. In Charlotte, you're kind of used to losing. It's in the DNA. It sucks to say that because of how much of a competitor I am. Over here, it's the total opposite. Nobody wants to lose. Nobody is fine with it." End quote. Scorned ex-lover is the vibe I get off of this. My dude just dropped an elbow on the entire city of Charlotte.
Is he wrong, though?
No, but that's not the point. No, he's not. It was not. Like, let me put it this way, Zoe. From January 1st until, what was it, last Thursday? I can count on 0 fingers the number of times that we got anybody texting, tweeting, calling into the radio broadcast and asking to discuss the Charlotte Hornets. We had a little bit of momentum about the Charlotte Hornets at the beginning of the NBA season, but then they were bad. And despite some level of optimism from Buzz fans that maybe we would see a little spark this year, you were dealing with injuries to LaMelo. You were dealing with your second most important player arguably being a rookie who was learning the ropes, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Then the season started. Then the Hornets have been bad. Then nobody has once texted, called, tweeted, or emailed into this show to talk about the Buzz. And then late last week, Charlotte went and knocked off the number 1 team in the East, the Minnesota Timberwolves. And I don't know if you remember this show, Lonzo, but we got like 15 texts throughout the course of the day. Hey, Rob, are you going to talk about the Hornets? Are you going to talk about the Buzz? Are you going to bring up the dub last night over the
guessing I
T-Wolves?
wasn't here that day.
You may not have been. I don't know if you were or not. I know we got a bunch of texts asking people to talk about Charlotte. And I thought to myself, I wonder if Mitch and the gang up in C-Town recognize, you know, I know Mitch Kupchak, a big fan of this show and this station. Obviously, who's not? I wonder if they're seeing this. I wonder if they're seeing that if this team wins, people want to talk about it. People are interested, right? Like when I got here to the GVO, one of the reasons it was such an easy decision for me to take this job was not just that it's a great job with great people, great management, great workplace, etc. But it was also, all right, so you're telling me I am 2 hours from an NBA and an NHL, or excuse me, an NBA and an NFL team in Charlotte. You're telling me I'm 2 hours from an NBA and an MLB and an NFL fan in Atlanta, both of which, by the way, are in my favorite team's division. So that's 2 Saints games a year that I can get to should I elect to do so. I was very pumped because I'm within 2 hours driving distance of not one, but 2 NFL teams, 1 MLB team, and 2 NBA teams. And here I am 4 years in. March would be 4 years. I have been to so far in that 4 years, Lonzo, I have been to 6 Atlanta Hawk games so far. I think 3 against the Pelicans, 1 playoff game against the 76ers, 1 game against, who else did I say? It doesn't matter. I think I've been to 5 or 6 Atlanta Hawks games so far. You know how many times I've gone up to Charlotte to see the Hornets so far? 0. None. Not a 9. Not a time. Not once. Now, it's easier to go to Charlotte than it is Atlanta. It's an easier drive. It's an easier city to navigate. It's an easier spot to get to the arena. If you have not been to a Hawks game in the ATL, that arena is in a real difficult spot, right? You got to like park in the middle of this very sketchy state fair kind of parking lot situation to get there. It's a bit of a haul to get to State Farm. It's a great basketball arena. But like everything leading up to it, with the exception of this, there's this like one really cool bar next door to it that does like dollar beers and dollar shots for an hour leading up to the game. That's pretty dope. But outside of that, there's like not really a lot that makes Atlanta like a great NBA destination. Charlotte's got a great setup for the NBA. And yet, I have found myself in the ATL, I believe 5 or 6 games so far, 0 for Charlotte. And part of the reason why is, even though I could go watch LeBron and Luka and like the great players of the NBA play in Charlotte, I'd rather go watch them play in Atlanta, where at least the Hawks have been competitive. Now, there is a report swirling around right now that Trae Young and Clint Capella could be on their way out of Atlanta, which I find absolutely ridiculous. But the discussion has been that, or the point for me is, at least the Hawks have been competitive, right? If I go, I know I'm going to see Capella and Ice Trae and this team put up a fight. They're not great, but they've made the playoffs a couple of times in the last few years. So at least I can justify going over there, because it's one thing to go watch Luka. It's another thing to go watch Luka actually play in a competitive game, right? So I was kind of intrigued by the fact that the Charlotte Hornets get a win against a good team on the road at Minnesota. And I the next morning, I was like, is anybody going to care about this? I think I put it in the water cooler cheat sheet that day and had reservations about it. I'm like, I don't know if anybody's going to care. Like, it seems like a big story. It seems like something we would want to talk about. It seems like something that would justify being one of the top 3 stories that upstate sports fans would want to know. That the most regionally significant NBA team, a team that has been bad for a while, just knocked off the best team in the East. Like, it seems like that would be, in the West, pardon me, it seems like that would be a discussion that we should be having. And I get in and I break it out in the first hour. And I got, like I said, 10, 12, 15 texts over the course of the next 3 hours going, Rob, are you going to talk about the Hornets? The Hornets won. How about the win for the Hornets? What about LaMelo? How about Brandon Miller? What about Du Bois? And I thought, this is really interesting. First time I've been here in 4 years. That's the first time that I got more than like the occasional one-off Hornets text, right? Got a fistful of them. Got a fistful of them. And I was very happy about that. Very, very happy about that. So to see Terry Rozier's comments, like Lonzo said, he's not wrong. He's not wrong. I hope that Mitch Kupchak, I hope that the Hornets organization go down to the local Kinko's. Isn't that the print shop? Isn't that where you can go get stuff printed?
I just don't think they exist anymore. I thought they went out of business, but I mean, at least I don't know of any around here. Maybe,
see if there's still a Kinko's.
Maybe go down the stable.
It looks like they've all been bought up by a large shipping company now. But go down to the local print shop and ask them to print a banner that's about 40 feet long by 40 feet high. And I want them to hang that, not in the gym. I want them to hang that in the front office in Charlotte. I want them to hang that in a spot where every front office member of the Charlotte Hornets has to look at it every day. And I want that big 40 by 40 banner to have Terry Rozier's quote on it. Because I am now convinced after that win last week and the text that came in because of it, I am now very convinced that people want this team to be good. People want to enjoy basketball. The Carolinas are a basketball haven in the Southeast. You care more about basketball in the Carolinas than Florida does, than Georgia does, than Alabama does, than Mississippi does, than Arkansas does, than Missouri does. The Carolinas can be a bastion of basketball. Duke in North Carolina and Wake and Wake and NC State. These schools prove that, right? These schools make their bread and butter on basketball. The Carolinas can be a basketball haven, but I very much need the folks in the front office in Charlotte to have to look at Terry Rozier, a guy who, when he left, was very gracious, right? Did like a sit-down, recorded exit interview, and he was very gracious. I'm going to miss Charlotte. I love my time here. It's a great city, yada, yada, yada. He gets to Miami, and he immediately goes, dog, they're losers. They're all losers. They stink. They're awful. It's in their blood to be bad. It's in their veins to be bad. They can't help it. They're just bad. And the disappointing part is that he waited till Miami to say those things. It's kind of like when you find out that that relationship that you left, that you thought you split amicably, you know, hey, we're just different people. I like you. I think you're a great gal. Some guy's going to be very lucky to have you in their life. I'm going to miss you. I'll think about you if you ever need anything. I'm just a phone call away.
I hope you use that tone too, because
Absolutely. It's the breakup voice.
It's a very caring tone.
Yeah. I'm very sorry. It's just, sometimes as people grow, they grow apart. They grow into different people. And just the person that you're meant to be and the person that I'm meant to be, unfortunately, aren't people who are meant to be together. I will always think fondly of you. I will share our memories forever with you. And if you ever need anything, you just call me. And then you go out to the bar a couple of weeks later, you're like finally feeling good, your life's different, but hey, you split amicably. It is what it is. That's what responsible, mature adults do. When you get to the bar and one of your boys walks up and goes, hey, I met so-and-so the other day. I saw your girl out the other day, and she said that you are ugly and bad at the unskinny bop, bro. She was running her mouth about you. She was talking smack about you. That kind of stings worse, right? I hope that the front office of the Buzz are looking at, reading, hearing what Scary Terry had to say, and recognizing we should probably dispel this, right? We should probably figure out a way to move on past this. We should probably work out a way to make it to where when we trade away our best player for a multi-time all-star, granted past his prime, but a multi-time all-star and a first-round pick, that guy doesn't end up going to another city and going, they're all losers. How do we fix this, boys? And I hope they get it done. I would like to feel compelled to drive to Charlotte for an NBA game, but I've been here 4 years and I have not done that yet. I hope they fix it. I hope this serves as a trigger point for them to get it together. And not for a second do I believe that they will. Let's take a break. We'll come back here in just a minute. We got a lot of stuff to get to. We got some Panther talk. We got some golf talk. The PGA signed a deal. $3 billion. And on the same week, Rory McIlroy, a guy that has been anti-LIV Tour the whole time, is out there saying, I'd really like to get the golf world back together again. What's that mean for the game, for us as fans? Anything? Nothing? Everything? We'll talk about that. We'll talk some basketball. We'll talk some football. It's all coming up on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. Nice speech, Rob. How many times have you used that? Not really. I'm usually the breakup-y, not the breakup-er. I'm usually gets dumped, not dumper. Hornet's gonna hornet. That one's rough. That one's rough. Good old cocky top. Woo! I got my text like 9 times just earlier.
Currently it's 32 degrees.
There's nothing worse than coming home from a cold day to find out that your heater isn't working. When this happens, you need an HVAC company you can trust. A company like Priority Heating and Air. Their HVAC specialists will give your system a thorough checkup. And if you need a new unit, Priority Heating and Air is a proud distributor of the Coleman line.
They announced yesterday Brody King is coming to South Carolina Comic Con.
Really? I love to talk to that dude. We'll talk metal music with that guy.
I wouldn't even pretend like I know the music that he listens to. That's where you bring Diesel in and tell him you got a guy who's in a band.
Don't tell him he's a wrestler.
Talk metal, yeah.
For the ones who get it done, the most important part is the one you need now. And the best partner is the one who can deliver. That's why millions of maintenance and repair pros trust Grainger, because we have professional grade supplies for every industry, even hard to find products. And we have same day pickup and next day delivery on most orders. But most importantly, unwavering commitment to help keep you up and running. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey everybody, it's Homer Esiason here, and eBay Motors has everything you need to keep your ride or die alive. From superchargers, brakes, exhaust kits, and more. With over 122 million parts, eBay Motors levels your baby up to its peak performance. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to bring home the win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Sponsored by ChumbaCasino.com. With over 100 online casino sites, Chumba Casino is your go-to destination for nonstop entertainment. Play for fun and play for free at ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void or prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
Take control of your listening experience with Rewind on the Odyssey app. Missed a jaw-dropping moment? No worries.
The Odyssey app makes it easy.
With Rewind, you can relive big moments from Mark Ryan, Rob Brown, Jim Rome, and more. Don't miss a beat. Just hit Rewind with the Odyssey app on the Fan Upstate. Get in the game on the Rob Brown.
The Rob Brown Show carries on. Happy Thursday, ladies and gentlemen. Rob with the Great One with you. Carolina has mostly filled up their coaching staff. Got a running backs coach. Got a head coach. That seemed mildly important. Got an offensive coordinator. There's two things that I wanted to get to today on the show, and we will bring these both up with Rashad Beard later on today when we get him on at 8:20. But I'll address them now because we got time and I want to. The first is Ejiro Evero, defensive coordinator. The hope in Charlotte has been that you would be able to retain Double E. The hope for the Panthers has been that he will stick around. He had some head coaching interviews. All but one gig is now filled up, and there's no indication that Ejiro Evero is being considered as a genuine candidate for the Washington Commanders job. Seattle is now filled. And since Carolina has been allowed to and has blocked other teams, at least 3, as many as 5, from scheduling interviews with Double E to hire him as a defensive coordinator, as the team has the right to block lateral hiring interviews. The hope was that Double E would return to Carolina, where despite immense challenges last year, he guided this defense to a pretty good year statistically. In fact, the only stat that I would say I had a problem with was that Carolina was 32nd in the league in pass rush generated. They recorded 199 quarterback hurry-ups last season. That was not only last in the league, but it was last in the league by like 100 plus overall. But I've also made the argument in the past. This team is built to be a line control defense. This team is built to be a defense that controls the run game, that does not give up 100 yards to running backs on the ground and makes quarterbacks work against a secondary that's pretty good. we can have that argument later on. Either way, the discussion right now is the desire to retain Ejiro Evero. That is something I am very much on board with. It is something Lonzo is not. Well, Lonzo may get his wish because reports started circulating yesterday via Joe Person of The Athletic, that Ejiro Evero, according to NFL insiders, would like to move on to another team to serve as DC, that he wants out, that he does not want to be there. Now, we have not heard this from Double E yet, but, and I would point this out, and I'll even ask this as a question of the great one. Lonzo, do you recall a point last year where we actually, unless you went specifically to look for the post-game press conferences, do you recall hearing Ejiro Evero speak last year?
No, I wouldn't know what he looked like if he walked in the room. Yeah.
Remarkably off the radar for a guy that was expected to be a hot head coaching candidate this year.
Embarrassed. Well, I don't blame him on a team that won just a couple of games. I mean, would you want to be seen?
I mean, I get it. If that is the reason, that's the reason. But the reality here is we didn't see hide nor hair of this cat last year, despite the fact, and here's the thing, even if he didn't want to be seen, at the end of the day, that was the dude who interviewed for multiple head coaching spots last coaching cycle, did so again this year, and yet still have seen and heard very little from Double E.
All I know is in a couple of seasons of horrible offensive play, the defense usually stood out. They did not last year. So, I mean, if you're cleaning the slate, you're bringing in all new coaches, you should bring in all new coaches.
We have had this talk, this discussion. There are a lot of people who believe that is the case. In fact, I was scrolling the message boards last night when this rumor busted out that Double E wanted out. And there were folks on different Panthers message boards that were saying, should have walked him out anyway, right? Should have walked him out anyway. Clean slate means clean slate. It doesn't mean clean slate except for the couple of things up here in the corner, right? Now, again, I'd like him to stay. A lot of people want a full clean slate protocol. I get it. I understand. Don't agree, but understand. Let me give you where my brain went when I saw that report last night. Whether you wanted him to stay or you wanted him to go now, this is a direct ramification, a direct consequence of the behavior of Dave Tepper. Because here is how I saw it. I want you to take a gander around the NFL at open defensive coordinator jobs across the league. We know that most of them so far have been filled up at this point. There have been a couple that are available, but most of them have been filled up. Ejiro Evero could very well have been a DC. And there were at least, as we mentioned, 5 teams that wanted the guy. Ejiro Evero, from the reports, if you believe Joe Person at The Athletic, wants out and could have had the opportunity to get out and has now been blocked from getting out. The reason that he would want out, in my opinion, if you look at the defensive jobs that were open and that wanted him, right? I am talking about Miami, Jacksonville, New York. These are all defenses, to me personally, that are at their best on par with the talent that the Carolina Panthers have and the ability that the Panthers have. Like on par. The Dolphins got some playmakers. They were banged up towards the end of the season this year and into the playoffs. But I wouldn't say the Miami Dolphins are more talented defensively than the Carolina Panthers. The New York Giants have some excellent defensive backs. I wouldn't say the Giants are a more talented defense than Carolina on paper. I certainly wouldn't say that about the Jacksonville Jaguars, right? None of these jobs that Ejiro Evero was being considered for, none of these jobs provide him with the resources that he has to stay on board as the DC at Carolina. So if he wants out, there would be, to me, two reasons. There are two reasons he would want out. One is he doesn't believe in Dave Canellis. He doesn't believe in the future of the franchise. He doesn't believe this was the right head coaching hire, and he thinks he's going to have to go through next year what he went through this year. The second possibility is he doesn't want to work for David Tepper.
Maybe there's a third possibility that he thought he should be up for the head coaching job, and he didn't get it.
Might be it, but doesn't that fall under don't want to work for David Tepper? Hey, you didn't want to give me this job? Screw you, I'm out.
I suppose. I mean, when you're up for a promotion and you don't get it, and you think you're better than the guy who did, kind of makes you want to go somewhere else.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, again, I do think that falls under the I don't want to work for Dave Tepper motif. I think that does fall under the I don't want to work for this guy. You know, I've been here. I served my time in the sheer and total mediocrity that is this franchise right now. And I wanted that gig. I wanted my opportunity to turn around this program. You passed on me. You went and found a 37-year-old first-time, one-time offensive coordinator. And granted, I think it's the right decision. I like Ejiro Evero a lot. But we've been saying for months now, Carolina's got to go with a young offensive coach. It's not an option. That was a mandate. Anything else would have been negligence, in my opinion. But I can also understand Ejiro Evero saying, I want that job. And it clearly wants to be a head coach because he's interviewed for double-digit head coaching jobs over the last couple of years. So if he really does want out, it says one of two things. It either says, I don't believe in Dave Canellis and I don't believe in the team that we are putting together for next year, A. Or B, I don't want to work for Dave Tepper. I don't want to work in this franchise. I don't want to work for this guy who is running the team the way that he's running the team. And either way, it's not a great look. It's not a great look. If Ejiro Evero wants out, first off, let's start with this. If he wants out, because I've already got a text that says, Rob, he's under contract. Too bad if he wants out. I can't recall, I'm not saying this never happened. I can't recall a team ever holding a coordinator hostage, right? Nope, you're under contract. You are staying here or you're sitting at home. I can't recall that ever happened. I can also tell you that would be the worst move. The worst move. Because you think nobody wants to work for Dave Tepper now? You think nobody wants a job in Carolina now unless it's just the only one available? I promise you the coaching ranks will be up in arms against you if you tell a guy, yeah, no, you're under contract. You're not going anywhere. We would rather force you to sit at home than allow you to go coach somewhere else. No coach in their right mind is ever going to come play for you or come work for you if that's the case moving forward. So you got this guy under contract that very clearly multiple other teams want, at least as the DC, if nobody wanted him as the HC, at least as the DC, a guy that some percentage of your fan base wants back, maybe the only coach in the organization that they wanted back. I think if there were any, there were two. Tabor for special teams, Double E for defense. That's it. That's the list. And the fact that a good chunk of your fan base wanted him back, multiple other teams have interviewed him both for the DC over the last 2 years and the HC job of the last 2 years. And this dude wants out. Not a great look for you, Dave. Not a great look, man. This is, to me, a direct result of you and the culture you have created in this locker room. And if you don't get it fixed, you're going to have a real tough time getting guys the caliber of Ijiro Evero to want to stick around in the future. It's on Dave Tepper. It's always been on tap. It's stayed on tap. I've been telling you for 2 years it's on tap. It's been obvious to me. And to me, this is just another illustration of that. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll wrap up hour number 1 of the show. Later on in the radio broadcast, we got some more updates on that Tennessee story. Got some more thoughts on that to get to. $3 billion going into the PGA Tour. What's that mean for us as fans, if anything? While the whole Rory McIlroy discussion's taking place. We got a lot we need to get to. I'm Rob. He's Lonzo. The Rob Brown Show rolls on. It is the Fan Upstate.
Here's the sports flash on the Fan Upstate. Men's hoops last night, Pitt beat Wake Forest 77-72. UNC Greensboro.
I don't want to, but I'm going to take medicine because I can't breathe.
That does feel mildly important.
Charleston Southern 63-60 winners at Radford. In overtime, Furman beat the Citadel 82-79. Chattanooga over Western Carolina 91-85. Sanford beat Wofford 81-79. The Bulls beat the Hornets 117-110 last night. Kobe White.
All right, guys, we're going to step away for just 30 seconds. Don't go. All right, dudes, we're back.
So
Thanks for
you
hanging out
know
with
when
us.
your eyes red and stuff comes out of them.
You can't always get what you want.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6986. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. There is zero risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt, then
I think Thursday has now become relapse day for me.
and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have a 5-star rating on Google and Yelp, and an
That's true. It was the last 2 Thursdays, wasn't it?
Don't be afraid of the IRS any longer.
You gonna make it?
Tax nightmare?
Yeah.
By visiting us online at tra.com.
Like I said, just having trouble catching my breath.
Yeah.
That's $29.86. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Getting your biggest tax refund from Jackson Hewitt can lead to some spirited reactions.
Jackson, you yeah!
Jackson Hewitt is so sure that you'll get your biggest refund that if they don't, you get your money back plus $100.
Jackson, you yeah!
May have to go to emergency room later anyway because that thing on the back of my leg's getting bigger.
Not ideal.
It's into the muscle to where if I stand too long,
Dude.
it hurts.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Still think I got bit by something
Maybe.
because there was a hole there. I think it might have been an invisible bed spider. Possibly an interdimensional being. I don't know.
Wake up. Breakfast.
Yes, today is February 1st.
Nature-made vitamins. Whatever your morning sounds like, Nature-made fits right in. Whether you're looking for vitamin C or a multivitamin to get key nutrients, we've got you covered. Now that's a good morning. We take care of you so you can take on your day. Start your day with Nature-Made, the #1 pharmacist-recommended vitamin and supplement brand. Based on a survey of
Yes, it is. Yes, ouch.
From the Ingalls
When I typed out the date on the stream title today, it hurt.
97.7 FM Green Bay. 97.1 FM Spartanburg.
from the free Odyssey app. Talk to Robin Lizzo, 844-FAN.
Wrapping up hour number 1 of the Rob Brown radio program right here on the Fan Upstate. The great one great one is Lonzo. I am Rob Brown. I'll say the great one and Lonzo. But that makes me sound full of myself. And we all know that while I am very funny, very handsome, and very good at this, I am also very humble.
It's my favorite part about you.
Yeah. Humility, a shared trait amongst pretty much everybody who works on this radio station. We are all incredibly humble, just as humble as we are good looking.
I was
as a matter of fact.
just thinking that the other day about all of us.
Yeah, it's a very handsome collection of people who share values like humility, and I'm very proud of that. I really am. All right, 844-326-3663 is the phone number to be a part of the show. Text us 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N. We'll read them on the air. FAN, F-A-N. We will read them on the air. If Double E decides to go, what do the Panthers do at defensive coordinator? I got to be real with you. I don't know. And I'll tell you why I don't know. Yesterday, we had another defensive coordinator hire, Green Bay. Who do they hire? Boston College head coach Jeff Hafley. He leaves BC after a number of years to head back to the dance where he will take over as the DC and GB. Now, I'm going to talk about this in a little while, and I'm going to talk about it in a little while because of the alleged reasons that Hafley has decided to depart Boston College and my reaction to those. We'll get to that in a little while. But my point here is that is where teams are going right now to get defensive coordinators. They are grabbing college head coaches that don't really have that level of experience in the National Football League. And if that is where a team like Green Bay is having to go right now, where the hell's Carolina go for a DC? Like, if I'm Tep, I'm on the phone right now. Bring. Dave, it's Double E. Why the hell are you calling me at 6:50 in the morning? Hey, big dog, just wondering what I needed to do to keep you. You name it. Blank check. Would you like to open a chain of Double E themed restaurants? Like, what do you need to stay here? What do you need to feel confident about your future in Charlotte? And that's what I'm doing. because the pool of DC candidates is shrinking. And again, remember, it's not as easy as just go grab somebody else's guy and pay him more, right? That's why Double E is still the DC as of right now in Charlotte. Not because he wasn't wanted for that job elsewhere, but because you can't just move laterally if you're under contract. Teams can say no to that. They can say no to you interviewing elsewhere unless it's a promotion. So where do you go? I don't know. And that is why I was saying a week and a half ago, you need to be right now treating Double E like he's your everything. Now, can you do that when he clearly wants a head coaching job and you interviewed him, but you passed on him for a, 10-year younger, one-time offensive coordinator? Not really. That might be tough, right? But you got to try. You got to sell. You've got to make that call. You've got to bend over backwards to kiss a little bouquet and hope. Because again, Green Bay, which I'm not saying this is true for everybody, but Green Bay has always been a highly sought after coaching destination. Green Bay is pulling a head coach of a mid to low tier ACC school to come be their defensive coordinator. If that's the best that Green Bay can get, how do you feel about Carolina making a splash with that? I don't.
Aren't you surprised that Canellis didn't have someone in mind?
He may very well have, but having a guy in mind doesn't mean you're getting that guy, right? Like most guys, like Raheem Morris is coming over. He's bringing a bunch of Rams with him, but he's bringing position coaches, right? He's not bringing an experienced defensive coordinator. And I guess this is part of it is, so if you're Carolina, you got two options. Canellis can bring an inexperienced position coach with him and elevate him, or you keep a guy who did a pretty good job last year and has multiple years of experience, multiple successful years of experience in the role. Man, even if you don't think he did a great job, if you just think he did a good job, it feels to me like you lean on the guy who has been there, done that, has the rapport with the locker room. The locker room likes him. The locker room wants him to stay. The players want him to stay. It feels like that's the guy that you lean on. I think that's why Double E didn't get the pink slip the minute that Canellis was done unloading the U-Haul, like Chris Tabor did. Like pretty much everybody except Double E did. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. All right, we got to run to a break. When we come back here in just a minute, hour number 2, we got the water cooler cheat sheet out of the gate, the top 3 sports stories you need to know before you get to the office and start plugging away. We're going to talk about Jeff Hafley headed to Green Bay, not from the perspective of what he does as a coach at Green Bay, but the alleged reasons that he decided to leave college football and my response to them. All that more is coming up in the next hour of the show. But before we get there, ladies and gentlemen, I want you all to slip into something comfortable, light a candle, lay back and relax to the Kenny G of Sports Talk, the great one, Lonzo.
All right, I can't even. Man, that was so good. A lawsuit by a former Ole Miss football player against the university and head coach Lane Kiffin was dismissed by a judge yesterday. Defensive tackle DeSanto Rollins accused Kiffin and the school of failing to provide equal protection discrimination against him during a struggle with mental health and racial and sexual discrimination. Rollins accused Kiffin of mistreatment for failing to transfer out. Rollins plans to appeal the decision. Another NFL coaching job has been filled as Seattle has hired former Ravens defensive coordinator Mike Macdonald as their new leader, signing him to a 6-year deal. The 36-year-old is the league's youngest head coach and led the Ravens to the league's lowest points allowed total, most sacks, and most takeaways in just his second season as a coordinator. Tune in Sunday at 1:30 as the Furman men's basketball team takes on UNC Greensboro right here on the Fan Upstate.
Right now, I don't see any delays there. For the news off 98.9 WRD Traffic Center, I'm Lori Houston on the Fan, upstate.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, the scenic views stick around after the sun sets, and your favorite cocktails keep you company long after overtime. Where else can you unwind with bourbon and late-night bites? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Show up early, cash out quarterly. The first 100 fans to show up for the big game on Sunday get a free square for a chance to win a Twin Peaks gift card at the end of each quarter. Plus, every fan scores free fried pickles just for showing up. Contact your favorite store for more information on availability and offers.
If you're hiring, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack, like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who've used ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Okay, picture this. It's Friday afternoon when a thought hits you. I can spend another weekend doing the same thing, whatever.
Now, James, what's up, buddy? Welcome in. Good to have you, pal. Thank you, as always, for coming by. I appreciate everybody who comes by the stream.
Hyundai, there's joy in every journey. 2024 Santa Fe available early 2024.
Some people just know the best rate for you is a rate based on you with Allstate. Not one based on the driver who treats the highway like a racetrack and the shoulder like a passing lane. Why pay a rate based on anyone else? Get one based on you with Drive Wise from Allstate. Not available in Alaska or California, subject to terms and conditions. Rates are determined by several factors which vary by state. In some states, participation in Drive Wise allows Allstate to use your driving data for purposes of rating. While in some states, a rate could increase with high-risk driving. Generally, safer drivers will save with Drive Wise. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Hear the biggest game of the year. Super Bowl 58, the Chiefs versus the 49ers. Live from Vegas. Sunday, February 11th at 2 p.m.
We know it's going to be a dogfight. It's going to be 60 minutes.
Let's talk. Communicate. 97.1 FM Spartanburg and on the Odyssey app. Your morning jolt of sports. It's the Rob Brown Show.
What happens when we get that crazy guy, that Harvey Updike, that goes, there's 20,000 people on this court, and I got a shot at their star athlete, and he goes and kicks a knee sideways? We've had 1,000 years of court storming, and this has never happened. There's never been that.
It's an exaggeration, because I don't think 1,000 years ago that they were storming the Roman Colosseum.
You don't know.
If you do, you die.
Maximus Decimus Aurelius in the upset win over Joaquin Phoenix.
The centurions with their swords are like, yeah, come on down here.
You don't know that the Mennonites didn't win a battle and decide they were going to storm the battlefield afterwards in celebration? The Minutemen clear the green at Lexington, and the rest of the Tories, or the Whigs, pardon me, come rushing down to the field to celebrate it.
I'm glad you fixed that, because the Whigs people are about to get really angry with you.
Yeah, a lot of Whigs out there getting real mad.
Don't hit snooze. The Rob Brown Show.
Smith and James in the first break.
Smith and James in the first break.
Woo!
And check this out. For an official Rob Brown lockdown. Represents being a winner. Yeah. Unfiltered sports talk. Manufactured locally for the Carolinas. This is the Rob Brown Show. Rob, only on
The Fan Upstate.
Hey, Big Daddy, how you doing?
Great. Thanks for asking. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. The second hour, the money hour of the Rob Brown Show goes now. This, friends, familia, is the Fan Upstate Welcome in. The Rob Brown Show carries on. I am Rob Brown, the great one, Lonzo, on the other side of the metaphorical glass this AM. Be a part of the show. The Renewal by Anderson of the Carolinas phone line is open for you at 844-326-3663. The text line is open this AM at 71307. 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-M. We'll read them on the air. Text line quiet so far this AM, but it's early, all right? It's 6 o'clock. Well, now it's 7 o'clock in the morning. Oh, it's 7 o'clock in the morning. That means you're less than an hour away from getting clocked in at work. That means, if you're like me, you're like less than an hour and a half away from taking your first lunch break or just regular break or smoke break or whatever kind of break you make up an excuse to take. And when you take that first break, if you're anything like me, you're going to make your way down the hallway. You're going to grab one of those little plastic cone cups. I don't know why we're still using the cone cups. Haven't we as a society moved past the cone cup? We just have regular cups.
Got to use them all until they get rid of them. It's just taking, decades.
Do we have like stockpiles of cone cups?
Yeah, absolutely.
Can we move on from that? Every business owner everywhere. Let me tell you, I'm going to make it real easy for you. All right. If you want people to have a higher morale around the office, there's a lot of easy steps that you can take, right? A lot of easy steps that you can take. One of them, don't skimp on the quality of the TP in the restroom. All right. I can tell a lot about a business by the quality of the TP in the pooper. If I roll in there and it's like half ply, you breathe on it, it falls apart. You are telling me two things. Number one, you don't care about your employees or sanitation and hygiene. Number two, you don't understand economics, because I am going to use as much TP as it takes or more to make sure that my hind parts are clean and my fingers are also clean at the end of that process. Spend the money on TP.
Unless maybe you have a bunch of toilet cloggers and you want to make sure it's going to be a little more difficult for them to do that.
Dude, I'm telling you, if you give me the half ply TP, I'm using a roll if that's what I got to do, right? I am not walking out of that stall with even the slightest risk.
Yeah, but I'm contaminated. With the kind you're talking about, you could not clog a toilet up.
Dude,
as soon as the water hits that stuff, it dissolves.
Listen, just if you're an employer, trust me on this. Trust me on this. Your employee morale is going to be directly impacted by the decisions you make on the stuff that you have to provide for them on the daily. If you go spend money on quality TP, that's a very easy way, an economically efficient way to send a little "I am thinking about you" message to your employees, man.
By the way, this is not a rail against our bathrooms. We're good.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah, I don't want anyone thinking, wow, did you know that, honestly, Greenville, they use single ply?
For the record, when I got here for the audition, for every job I have ever auditioned for, one of the first things I do is check the TP quality in the pooper.
All right, let's be honest. If you had followed some people that you've followed in the last couple of years into there, would that
I accept the job, but I'm always working from home.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I accept the job on the condition that you give me a Comrex and I do every show forever from my house.
Well, that kind of happened for a while.
It really did. All right. Whether you're utilizing your break to check the quality of the TP because, hey, coffee, I understand, or you're standing around drinking it, and stop with the cone cups, all right? Stop with the cone cups. Get some decent cups for the water cooler so that, A, I don't feel like that cup's going to give away at any second, and B, I don't have to refill it 93 times to feel remotely hydrated, all right? Just get some decent Dixie cups. Make it where I don't have to fill it 15 times to get a single drink of water out of there. And that's going to tell me you care. Water cooler cheat sheet.
Are you ready for the playbook of the peculiar? The almanac of the absurd and the encyclopedia of the extraordinary? Well, you better be, because we're diving headfirst into the 3 top stories that will have your coworkers saying,
You hear that?
"What?" before they take their first bathroom break.
No.
Here we go. Welcome to the water cooler cheat sheet on the Fan Upstate.
You nailed that one, dude. You were all over that one. I'm impressed.
Accident.
Texas said, Rob, take a 5-minute every day at work for the year. Boom. Extra week of vacation. Boss make $1, I make a dime. That's why I on company time, as the old expression goes.
Really? How old? I've never heard that.
Really?
And I'm old. So
There is an app you can get on your phone right now. I'm coming to the cheat sheet, but this feels important. There's an app you can put on your phone right now. And what you do is you type in, you enter into it, how much you make an hour, whether it's salaried or hourly pay, how much you make an hour. And whenever you head to the
I'm suddenly
bathroom,
depressed. Go ahead.
whenever you head to the bathroom, you open this app, there's a little red button, you push it when you start your personal time. And then at the end...
Wait. So is this after dropping point or...
No, like when you take a seat on the throne,
okay,
right?
All right.
You make your way to the bathroom, you take a seat on the throne, and then you push the red button, and it starts logging the time. And then when you're done... logging the time. And then when you're done... you push the red button, it starts the timer. And at the end of the year, you can go back and find out how much money you made while you were, ing. And log that. And it's a very popular app. Very popular app. All right. You didn't get it from me, but a very popular app. Boss make $1, I make a dime. That's why I on company time. This is a classic saying. All right. Thank you for that text, Texter. That was exactly the little break in the action that I needed. Let's get to the water cooler cheat sheet, and let's get to item number 1. There has been an uptake in the attention paid, and I think it's great, to women's college basketball. Obviously, y'all here in the hood may not experience it nationally because with what Dawn has done at South Carolina, they've been on the map for a long time. I would say the same thing is true for Connecticut, where the Yukon Huskies are. I'd say the same thing is true down in LSU, where the Fighting Tigers are. But I think nationally, there's been a little bit of an awakening and a little bit more attention being paid to women's college basketball. And one of the reasons why is because there has been recently a crop of superstars popping up into the national spotlight, maybe none more so than Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark, of course, has been, over the last couple of years, elevated into the public spotlight for good and bad reasons, but elevated nonetheless. Last night, she elevated herself once again. Caitlin Clark is now the second highest scoring all-time women's college basketball player. With 4:58 left in the second quarter in a game against Northwestern, Caitlin Clark knocked through a layup and scored point number 3,404, passing Kelsey Mitchell. She ended the game with 35 points, her 5th straight 30-point game, matching the longest streak of her career. She now sits at 3,424 career points. The top mark, Kelsey Plum, played for Washington. Her record right now, 3,527 points. So Caitlin Clark has 103 points separating her from the all-time scoring list. She is scoring at a clip of only 32.1 points per game, which puts her on pace to break Kelsey Plum's scoring record 2 weeks from today, February 15th, when they take on Michigan. Caitlin Clark did not have a good night last night overall. I mean, she did score 35, but she went, 3 of 13 or 14 from deep. Not her best scoring night, and yet still put up 35. She can ball. Angel can ball. Caitlin can ball. Haley can ball. There are some ballers right now in the women's college game. None more so than Caitlin Clark, now the NCAA's second highest all-time female basketball scorer. She's impressive, man. She's impressive. All right, item number 2. I debated putting this on the list, but I feel like it is necessary for reasons that we discussed yesterday on the show. We were talking about the NASCAR docuseries that is aired on Netflix, a docuseries that came after the success of the F1 Drive to Survive docuseries, a docuseries that opened up the world of Formula One racing to a large swath of Americans who had never really been involved in it before. One of the names that became a household figure because of that documentary and because of the boom in popularity for F1 racing around the Americas is Lewis Hamilton. Lewis Hamilton, for a number of years, a 7-time world champion, has been driving with Mercedes that whole time. No mas. In 2025, Lewis Hamilton will switch from driving for Mercedes to driving to Ferrari. The 7-time champ has the most F1 wins in history, and he signed what was believed to be a 2-year contract extension with Mercedes last year. But it appears now that the second year may have been an optional year for Lewis Hamilton, arguably the greatest F1 racer of all time. Although not confirmed officially, both Mercedes and Ferrari declined to comment to ESPN about the deal. ESPN sources say that the deal is basically as good as done. Hamilton will move over to replace Spanish driver Carlos Sainz. Ferrari has competed in every season of F1 and is said to have a greater pull than any other. However, they have not won a driver's title since 2007. Hamilton, tied on 7 titles with Ferrari legend Michael Schumacher, now has a chance to end that drought himself and move clear as F1's most decorated champion in the process. The 39-year-old has been linked with Ferrari on and off throughout his racing career. Ferrari is the sport's most successful team in history. They just have not won a trophy in some amount of time. Last year, when asked about a possible move to Ferrari, Hamilton laughed it off, said he was as good as a Mercedes guy for life. But ESPN said that Ferrari chairman John Eltman had been determined to land a big-name driver for Ferrari over the years, and the suspicion now is that the contract that is going to be signed by Lewis Hamilton to move over to Mercedes could be worth, and this is a scientific number, a buttload of money. When it's all said and done, we'll keep an eye on that one. Lewis Hamilton making an enormous jump from Mercedes over to Ferrari. If you are unaware of any of the words that I just said or what they mean, I know it's about a year, well, I guess a couple of years old at this point, but go watch the F1 documentary on Netflix and tell me it doesn't kind of get you gassed for the sport. Item number 3. Yes, there is a golf story on the water cooler cheat sheet today. It is, I think, maybe the second most impactful story that golf has had since Tiger's retirement. The first, obviously, was the creation of the LIV Tour and the number of big names that jumped over to it. But I think this one is another one. The PGA Tour announced yesterday an investment agreement with the Strategic Sports Group. The deal between the PGA Tour and the SSG infuses up to $3 billion. That's billion with a B into the PGA Tour. It also results in the launch of PGA Tour Enterprises, a commercial venture under the PGA Tour's control, where players will now have equity in the new company, a first in the PGA Tour's history. The initial investment will entitle players to the tour on the tour to over $1.5 billion in equity shares, according to the PGA, with higher ranked players receiving larger shares. Meanwhile, tour officials indicated that widely anticipated agreement with the Saudi Arabian Public Investment Fund, the financial backers of the Live Tour, is still being subjected to regulatory scrutiny, meaning that a deal that a lot of folks thought might get done by the end of last year is continuing to be pushed off. And you've got to say, all right, you had this deal with the Live Tour, with the Saudi Investment Fund, a deal last year that rocked the golf world. You asked your top golfers like Rory McIlroy to go wave the PGA flag high in the air and defend the honor of the organization while you were having conversations in the background about joining forces with the exact same people that you were asking Rory to go out and wave the flag in front of. It's a pretty bad look. And now it turns out, maybe not. Maybe that was just, I don't know, recon, intel. Maybe there was a deal in place and something came along down the line. But what has been the very common discussion point about the Live Tour? What do they have that the PGA Tour does not? Unlimited money. They are playing this game with the unlimited money cheat code turned on. The Saudi Arabians do not care about money. It is not real to them, right? And that has been the big concern, that the folks at the Live Tour would be able to just keep dumping money into that tour as much as they needed for as long as they needed in order to keep the players on the Live Tour and hopefully woo more PGA Tour golfers over. Well, now all of the sudden, the PGA Tour has a maybe not infinite money glitch turned on, but a $3 billion with a B dollar glitch is going to go a long way. Giving ownership of the tour, or at least the tour's profits, over to the players goes a long way. There is one reason and one reason alone that so many big names jumped over to the Live Tour. Lonzo, would you like to guess what the number one reason so many big name golfers jumped to the Live Tour is?
I'm going to go with money, Rob.
Ding, ding, freaking ding. That's it. Well, now the PGA Tour is going, all right, fellas, hold up here just a minute. Hold on a second. You're all leaving for money. That's very understandable. But what if we told you that if you were a member of the PGA Tour, you're going to have an equity stake in the tour? That is to say, the more successful the tour is, the more money the PGA Tour makes, the more money that you will receive. You will get a cut of the profits. And on top of that, the longer that you are on the tour, the longer that you are a carrying card member of the PGA Tour, the more power, the more equity stakes, and the more profit you're going to get. Rory said earlier this week in a very controversial statement, I want the best golfers in the world to come back together. They're playing the amateur this week at Pebble Beach. It is one of the bigger events of the year. Rory said that he was almost kind of bummed out. He said, I want to win a tournament like this, stand on 18 and look around and realize that I beat the comprehensive list of the best golfers in the world. Not half of them, not some of them. I want to beat all of them at one tournament. And Rory went one step further and said he is now fine with unification between Live Tour players coming back to the PGA Tour, and he's not as worried about punishment. He used to say, hey, look, if you want to go from the Live Tour back to the PGA Tour, that's fine, but there should be some sort of punishment, some sort of price you have to pay for having jumped over. Then all of a sudden this week, he walked that back. He backtracked that. And a lot of us, me, were going, what the hell, Rory? What are we talking about here? What do you mean? You of all people, were gung-ho about they can't come back. Okay, they can come back, but there's going to be a harsh penalty for coming back. And now you're not. Is this why? Is this why? Did Rory know that this was coming down the pipe? Did somebody at the PGA tell Rory, hey, look, here's the deal, bro. We're going to create this membership, this partnership with SSG. It's going to flush $3.1 billion with a B dollars of cash onto the tour. We are going to make sure that a lot of that cash ends up in the hands of the golfers, ends up in the hands of the players. And we think that this is a real good way to get some of those Live Tour guys back. Some of those guys that just left due to money, they might come back now because they can make that money here and make it in perpetuity as stockholders, as shareholders, as owners of the tour. But in order to make it fair, in order to make it work, here's what we're going to do. The longer you've been on tour, the more that profit you get. So if you come back from Live Tour and you're considered a new member again, you are going to get a new member cut of the pie. But a guy like you, a guy that's been on this tour for 15 years, a guy that's been on this tour for a very, very long time, you, my dude ski, you are getting a much bigger slice of said metaphorical pie. There's your punishment, right? There's your punishment. You can come back, you can make a cut, and you can earn a larger cut by staying on the tour. And the guys that did not leave, they get a big old slice right out of the gate. How do you feel about that? And it sounds like Rory might be good with that. What's this mean for fans of the game? We'll talk about that later on in the show. But when we come back here in just a minute, that's your water cooler cheat sheet, by the way. Top 30 stories you need to know before you start talking sports at work. When we come back, Jeff Hafley was the head coach at Boston College. He is now the defensive coordinator for the Green Bay Packers. We're not going to talk about the X's and O's and what Hafley brings to Lambeau Field. No. Instead, we're going to talk about Jeff Hafley's reason for leaving BC. Reason for leaving a job that he was the man at. Da bomb, the kids might say. Because I scoffed. That's something only the haughty people can do, is scoff. We'll talk about that when we come back. I'm Rob. He's Lonzo. The Rob Brown Show rolls on. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Fan Upstate. All right, guys, got a live read right here. Stay right there. We will come right back. All right, dudes and dudettes. April said, did you get your milkshake? I did not, April, and let me tell you why. Because today we talked milkshakes. Rob Brown was rocking a very nice quarter zip that was given to him as a gift by his fiance. A quarter zip that when I got it, I really liked it. Really liked it a lot. And then I realized after we got off the air and when I went into the restroom before I left, when I was 100% going to get my big old fat cookies and cream chocolate milkshake. I go chocolate ice cream, but cookies and cream. That quarter zip, a little bit tighter than it was when it was gifted to me. And I had one of those stare yourself down in the mirror and tell yourself how much of a fat, worthless slob you are. I had that moment. And so for the past 2 days, not only have I not had my milkshake, but I have had one granola bar in the morning, and I have been eating air-fried chicken every night since then. Because your boy has got to drop some LBs. And once you hit that point where you cuss yourself out in a mirror, like that's the moment you got to fix it.
Personalized discounts and more. Get a quote in as little as 6 minutes at progressivecommercial.com. Discounts and coverage selection available in all states or situations.
Dan Scott here, inviting you to join Tom Van Hoy and me for all the action of Furman basketball, and you'll hear all the action here on the Fan Upstate on 97.7 FM Greenville, 97.1 Spartanburg, and online on the Odyssey app. Search the Fan Upstate.
No need to check the clock. It's Rob Brown time now. Weekday mornings.
Onward ever does the NFL coaching carousel turn. And we're starting to see not just head coaching jobs filled up, we're starting to see those new head coaches round out their staff as old head coaches trim theirs up. The Green Bay Packers decided it was time to move on from their defensive coordinator, Joe Barry. Packers fans had wanted this for a while. They fired him after the season. And now the Green Bay Packers have their new defensive coordinator. It is Jeff Hafley. Now, those of you who root for your Clemson Tigers, you may recognize the name Jeff Hafley. That is because Jeff Hafley was, until yesterday, the head coach of the Boston College Eagles. He had been there for 4 seasons. He is leaving the school to head to Lambeau to become their new DC in the GB. The Packers interviewed at least 6 candidates for the job. That included former LA Chargers head coach Brandon Staley, but have decided to go outside of the box. Now, I'm going to be real with you. I don't really care about that. I'm not super concerned about it. I know that if we're being 100, most of you don't care about the Green Bay Packers defensive coordinator. We'll get with that next year or the year after, whenever the next time Carolina squares off with Green Bay might be. I do bring this story up because of the report that Pete Thamel, very connected college football reporter, wrote up on this move. He said, and I quote, he wants to go coach football again in a league that is all about football, a source told ESPN. College coaching has become fundraising, NIL, and recruiting your own team and transfers. There's no time to coach football anymore, end quote. Y'all, I got to be real with you. I am getting super tired of the whiny ass head coaches. I really am. Jeff Hafley was making over $3 million a year at Boston College. I'm going to tell you right now, if any of you would like to hire me to work for $3 million a year, you can give me my job 7 days a week from like 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. every day, and I won't complain once. I'll do it for 3 or 4 years. I will stack up a retirement account, and then I'm out. I am so over the whining of college football head coaches, specifically those at the top level. at Power 5 football schools. I'm tired of it. I really am. There's no time to coach football anymore. Shut up. Yes, there is. You know how I know that? Because I'm watching football coaches coach football like a lot of Saturdays in a row in the fall and winter of every year. Stop it. You are making $3 million a year, dude. $3 million a year. But we have to deal with NIL now. Do you understand how many people would kill, some literally, to have a situation where they got to spend half their time writing up X's and O's and half their time just talking to rich people? That's your job, dude. Your job is coach football and talk to rich people. That's the job. And I'm not saying it's easy. If the head coach at the University of West Florida was to go, Rob, it's made my job a little tougher, I'm, for the record, still not going to be sad. That dude's making 6 figures, okay? That guy's making 6. He's still in a pretty good spot. But I have just got zero sympathy for a head coach catching a check for $3 million a year because I have to recruit more. That's your job, bro. That's your job.
Good for him. I'm glad. I mean, when someone realizes, hey, this is too much, I'm not enjoying this, I'm going to go somewhere where I have less responsibility and I can focus on just one part of the team and not have to deal with parents and all that other stuff and just deal with professionals, basically going and working in a job environment where you don't have to deal with all that kind of stuff. Good for him. He decided that another place would be better and he went there. I would think he'd be happy for him.
No, sure, for sure. If that job makes you happier, I'm at like anybody else, as I've said over and over and over, right? When I hear coaches making the threat, what have I said the whole time? I don't complain. I've talked about this with transfer players too. If my barber moves, if my garbage man gets a new route, if my electrician or my pest control guy move up to a better job, even though it impacts me, I'm happy for them. If this is the right move for him, I'm happy. It's the whining that kills me. It's the whining. You're making $3 million. There's no time to coach football anymore. I bet you there is. I just think it got tough. Listen, when the NIL stuff started, when the transfer portal stuff started, and you had coaches coming out speaking out against it, I said then, these coaches are mad about a portal. They're not mad about NIL. You know what they're mad about? They're mad that their jobs just got tougher. They are mad that by making the lives of the players better, their lives got tougher. I don't care. You are in a position that most of us would kill to be in, dude. $3 million a year, but it's long. Yes, of course it is. You're making $3 million a year. I would like you to find me anybody in the world making $3 million a year who doesn't have a hard job. Paris Hilton and Kim Kardashian. That's the list, man. They're the ones who have $3 million a year with an easy job.
I don't know. They both have like lines of clothing and things like that. I mean, you know.
I'm sure they're involved in the day-to-day.
You got to pick the right stuff. I mean,
okay,
the good
then
look.
Thanks for making my point even more. Even Kim Kardashian's got a tough job. Even Paris Hilton's got a tough life.
I don't understand why this is making you angry.
It's not the move. I am perfectly happy. Just like I have told people in this industry, every time we get a young cat up in here and I go, I want you to know, the first few years, they ain't going to be what you think they going to be. You don't roll up in here and get a mic. Nobody does that. I didn't do it. Zoe didn't do it. Mark didn't do it. Diesel didn't do it. You don't roll up in and get a mic. You go through a couple of years of stank, my man. That's every job. And if it gets to the point where you go, this work ain't worth it, having to be in the studio until 11 o'clock running basketball games, coming up here on weekends to produce shows that you're not allowed to talk on, if those things ain't for you, then move on. Nobody's going to be mad at you for it. Hey, this ain't for me. Okay, cool. I'm not mad about that. What bothers me is that the whining from people making $3 million is no time to coach football anymore. Yes, there is, dude. I promise you, because I've seen you do it the past 2 seasons. I have watched you coach.
Have you? What's the record?
Just because he's coached them poorly doesn't mean he didn't
I'm just saying, maybe he also sees the demise of the ACC on the horizon and is like, I'm getting out now while I can.
Then say that. You're gone. What does it matter anymore? Say, hey, look, the ever-changing landscape of college football and the threat to a Power 5 conference makes me concerned because let's be real, if the ACC breaks up, Boston College is absolutely one of the teams that's going to be on the outside looking in. They are going to be an EEC, an everybody else conference team. No doubt. Say that. Say that. College coaching has become fundraising, NIL, and recruiting your own team and transfers. There's no time to coach football. Yes, there is. Ryan Day's coaching football. Kirby Smart's coaching football. Kalen DeBoer's coaching football. Jim Harbaugh was coaching football. These guys are all doing just fine. Just fine. Look, you took $3 million to go coach at a school that is not a big-time football school. And I'm pretty sure, I'd be willing to bet, that when you took that gig with the hope that I'm going to go there, I'm going to do better than expected, and then one day I'll move up into a bigger role. But I got to tell you, do you think it's easier at Bama or Michigan or Georgia or Ohio State or Florida State or Florida or anywhere else? Do you think it's easier than Boston College? No. No, it's not. Right? Listen, if it is a good move for him, good for you. I will never get mad at somebody for taking a different gig to improve their life. You get an opportunity to make your life better, move on. Because I got news for you. You're expendable. To every job, you are expendable. The day that you are canned, I read an article once, an op-ed once. Guy was like, hey, think about it this way. If you died tomorrow, how quick is your job going to be listed up for grabs in the classified? That day? Within a week? You're expendable, right? So if you get an opportunity to go somewhere that makes your life better, I will never fault you for that. What I will fault you with is you making $3 million a year and whining about your job being tough. Yeah, that's why you're getting paid $3 million a year, bro.
Any job, if someone dies in it, it's going to be up the next day.
Right. So if a guy gets a chance to move to a job that's going to make him happier, take it. Take it. I don't care if you're a board op here or a head coach at BC. That is not my issue. My issue is you're making $3 million a year because the job is tough. Don't whine to me about how tough the job is, right? I do my best, and I'm not saying I never do, but I do my best not to complain about this job, right? I may occasionally slip one of the fiance. Oh, I got more responsibility added to my plate today. But I also recognize, as I've asked this question on the air many times, how many of your fellas would love my job? The answer for most of you is probably all of them. It's incredible competition for this job. I had to beat out some big class talent to get this microphone. It was hard to do it. I put in a lot of work to get this gig. I had to fly myself up here to get this gig. I had to put together a killer resume tape and demo tape. I had to come blow them away with the 2 shows I auditioned because there was someone, this job is high in demand. So I try not to complain about it, right? Don't complain to me because the $3 million a year job is tough. Of course it is. That's why you're making $3 million a year. But I have to recruit more now. Yeah, okay. Bummer for you, bro. Do you want to be good at the job or not? But I have to go talk to boosters all the time. Yes, that's part of the job. You know what other college football coach has to do that? All of them. Every one of them. There's no time to coach football anymore. Okay, boomer. I'm not worried about it. If you want to go coach in the NFL, go coach in the NFL. I'm good with that. But quit the crying on the way out, man. John Dog texts the show. and said, more money, more responsibility. Get over it or get out. Yeah, exactly. Exactly right. When I got the gig hosting BetQL, it was for more money. In return for good more money, I have to give up my Saturdays year-round and work 6 days a year. I got to give up fiance time. I got to give up travel time. When I do travel, I got to take time out of that travel to do the show, right? And because of that, I get good compensation for doing that show. So you know what I don't do? I don't every Monday come in here and go, I have to work more. Yeah, I get paid for it. I get paid pretty good for it, right? I don't complain about getting up at 3:30 in the morning to do this job. Why? Because it's a great gig. It's a great gig. It takes care of me. So I don't complain. I don't want to hear it. Texas said, just like all life, more money means a harder job, right, Rob? My job would replace me in 15 seconds. Yes, they would. Yes, they would. You're not valuable. The work is valuable. You want a $3 million a year job? It's a 24-hour a year, a 24-hour a day, 7 day a week, 3 week a month, 52 weeks a year, 12 months a year job. Welcome to it, dude. Welcome to it. Texas said, Rob, how come I never hear about Dabo or Shane Beamer complain about how they don't have time to do their jobs? Dabo's complained plenty about the portal. He's complained plenty about NIL. But what does he do? Grind it out and put together a team. Same with Shane. Grind it out, put together a team. Because for $4 million a year, $5-10 million a year, they recognize talking to rich people ain't that bad. Telling kids how great they are and to come play for my school ain't that bad. All right, we got to run to a break. Yeah, I just said we're going to a break, Chad. Real quick, Brecken Lawrence is listening. Yesterday was his 7th birthday. I was supposed to say it. I didn't. Brecken, happy birthday, big dog. He listens with his dad on the way to school every day. That's awesome.
That is indeed awesome.
Brecken, happy birthday, my dude. Have a good day at school. We're back after this on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
Only on
All right, guys, stepping away for 30 seconds. Stay right there for me. We'll be right back, I promise. All right, y'all. Thanks for hanging in there. We are back.
Up to today, that's a traffic still really decent in rush hour. Not a lot of activity. A little bit of construction along I-26. It looks like about one lane blocked right around Walnut Grove Road. So you may see a slight delay. Not a huge backup there, but a little bit slow. South of I-85, seeing delays there as you move down past Highway 14. Down towards Pelham Road, a little bit of congestion there as you move down towards I-385. For the news off 98.9 WRD Traffic Center, I'm Lloyd Houston on the Fan Upstate.
It's easy to think all money managers are pretty much the same, but at Fisher Investments, we're clearly different.
different how? You sell high commission investment products, right?
No, Fisher Investments doesn't sell any commission-based investment products.
Well, you must earn commissions on trades.
Nope, never at Fisher. We're a fiduciary, obligated to act in our client's best interest. It's the highest standard of care for a financial advisor.
How do you know what's in their best interest?
We get to know our clients and then tailor a portfolio based on their goals and needs.
But you probably sneak in some hidden and layered fees.
No, we have one transparent management fee structured so we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, you really do look out for your clients.
Jesse, are you a Packers fan? Are you the Packers texter? Is that you?
Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you.
I like the hire of Halfley for the record.
Clearly different money
He's got 7 years of NFL experience, coached DBs with Tampa for a few years. I love the hire. I don't have an issue with the hire itself. Attaboy. The downstairs big boss is a Pat guy, too. Boy, does he love to talk to me about his thoughts on Aaron Rodgers.
It's bold and refreshing. Don't you think that's worth celebrating? We sure do. That's why we're finally giving the people what they want. Baja Blast in stores everywhere. That's right.
Did you listen to the New Heights pod where Travis talked about the Justin Tucker thing? I was not expecting him to pop off like that. That was the first time I've been like, maybe he's got a little bit of a mean streak in him. Jesse, the Saints played at Lambeau in 2016 or 17. And I was supposed to go. And I have a friend who lives up there. She lives like an hour away from Green Bay. I don't know the name of the place she lives. But anyway, I was supposed to fly up to Green Bay to go to Saints at Green Bay. And I made one of the dumbest mistakes a dude can make. I let a girl I was dating tell me that she wasn't comfortable with that, with me going to stay with a female friend that I had known for years. And so I bailed on going to see Saints at Lambeau because she was uncomfortable with me going to stay with a female friend for 2 nights while I went to a football game. And
It's not really normal behavior.
I regret it immensely.
Yeah, it's not normal behavior.
You know what? I'm going to bring that up for discussion real quick. Great one. Join us on the live stream at facebook.com/thefanupstate, twitter.com/thefanupstate by searching and subscribing to The Fan Upstate on YouTube or The Rob Brown Show on Twitch, where we stream all 4 hours of the show live every day that Lonzo's here, because when he's not, I'm lazy and don't want to. It's a lie, okay? So.
Maybe you should just go to the NFL, Rob.
That's good. I like that. You got me. Jesse popped up on the stream. He is a Packers guy. And he said, as a Packers guy, it's good to hear some Packers talk on the show. And yeah, we talk a little bit of everything. And he said, I saw Aaron Rodgers' last game at Lambeau last year. You have to go see a game there. And I told this quick story. And I'll tell it to you guys because I want you to tell me how bad I messed up. Because in retrospect, I get it, right? A number of years ago, I was supposed to go see a Saints game at Lambeau Field, right? I had bought tickets months ago. I had everything, and I was gonna drive up, right? It was a long haul. It was gonna be like a 2-day drive, but I had a week off, and I was gonna be off from Wednesday to Wednesday, game on Sunday. I was going to leave Wednesday, take my time driving up, get to Wisconsin around Friday. I was going to spend Friday night, Saturday, Sunday in Green Bay, go to the Packers-Saints game, stay Sunday night, start my journey back Monday, and come a completely different way back to Florida. I was basically going to take my 2003 Honda Accord on a trip through Middle America. Stop in Kansas City, stop in wherever I wanted to stop. That was going to be the deal. I had a friend who was a woman up there. Her name was Bonnie. Had a friend that I had known for years, right? Just a platonic friend I had had for years. And I was dating somebody at the time who told me, I'm uncomfortable with that. I'm uncomfortable with you staying with someone of the other gender for 2 nights while you go to a football game. And I backed off. I didn't do it. I was like, nah, all right, I won't go. And I wasted, and I will say my only, an opportunity to go see the Saints play at Lambeau Field. That's a huge mistake, right? I should have absolutely been like, you're just going to have to get over it and go, right? I feel like, because Saints at Lambeau, if you're lucky, happens like once every 8 years. And not every 8 years is it going to be an opportunity where It's going to fall on a weekend you can go. It's not going to fall on a holiday weekend. It's not going to fall on an anniversary weekend or whatever. I should have gone.
Yeah, but you're a dude, right?
Last I checked.
Okay, that's just not a good look. It's just not.
Even if I'd known this person since we were literally high school friends.
So
there was never a thing. It wasn't like I wasn't going up there to hanky panky.
I would never in my life consider even trying to ask for that. But again, I'm older than you, so sentiments change, how people look at things change through the years. But
I wasn't staying in the same bedroom.
Uh-huh.
It was like in a 2-story house.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's
I don't know, man.
just not a good look.
I don't know. Like, obviously now in retrospect, with the fact that relationship didn't last, I'm like, yeah, I should have gone to the Saints game. I love the Saints more than that person.
I mean, if you were looking for a way to go ahead and end that thing, then you should have went.
I don't know, man. That's a tricky spot. Tricky spot to be in. And even I, the self-professed and acknowledged professor of love. Usually these things are easy for me to figure out.
That might actually be the problem.
I feel like I wasted a shot, man. Like, I will tell you, the positive that came out of that is now I'm at a point where if I've got an opportunity, like maybe the correct decision would have been, I'm going up, I'm getting in a hotel room. Like, I'm going to go to the game with her because we bought tickets before I even knew you. I'm still going to go to the game, but I'll stay in a hotel. I'll stay in a different place.
I mean, that's the move to make right there.
I was also a poor college kid. Like 90% of the reason I was going and not flying.
So wait, you were in college.
Yeah.
And you don't realize that's a bad look.
Yeah.
Okay.
90% of the reason.
It's not like you're 45 and heading up there, which is still a bad look. But if you're like 19 or 20, I mean, come on. We all know where mentalities are at that age.
I mean, listen, I get it, but I will also say that this may shock you, a bit of a dork loser.
Yeah, but you're there, you're having a good time. You're kind of good time. You get back.
Dork.
Inhibitions go the way that they go. I mean, it just
inhibitions go the way that they go. Man, I don't know. Like I feel like I botched an opportunity for like a memory, man. I could have gone to Lambeau.
See, if
my team.
If I'm a member of your circle, I'm going, dude, don't do that. So would your buddies, would they have said, go ahead and do that?
Honestly, I think so. And here's why. It's not that. Here's why. The ticket was bought. The plans were made. Everything was set before I even met that person. And I am 100% a believer that, yes, men and women can be friends, can like just be platonic friends. I absolutely believe that to be the case. And that's what I was with this girl.
You may be exactly right, but it's still not a good look.
See, I don't care about that. I get it.
But you did.
I absolutely did.
Because you didn't go.
And that's what I'm saying. But like the point that I'm making is now, looking back at it, I feel like I screwed up because now I still haven't been to Lambeau Field.
But that's only because the relationship didn't work. If that relationship would have worked out, maybe you look at it like, yeah, man, I dodged a bullet there. I'm glad I didn't go.
I would also point out I should have known at that point the relationship was not going to work out, because when I say, hey, look, I love the Saints. I'm a big Saints guy. I have a chance to go watch them play at Lambeau Field. This is arguably the most historic football field. No, it is the most historic football field maybe in America. And I can go watch my team play. And all it cost me is gas and a ticket. I have zero romantic or sexual interest in this person. I just want to go to a football game. And it's my team. It is a team that, and I have told every woman, including the one I'm with now, when we start dating, I need you to know that Sundays during football season are Saints games. That's not an option. That's my life. It will never change.
All women are jealous.
Me out of that.
All women are jealous.
See, I'm not going to paint them with that broad stroke.
I will.
Because the one I have now, the one I'm with now, genuinely would not care.
Mm-hmm.
She would not care.
I just wouldn't go down that road right now if I were you.
I don't know, man. I feel like a screw.
Actually, it's just time for break. Maybe we stop here.
What I think I should have done, and then we will go to break. What I should have done is broken up with her on the spot. Should have been like, you know what? You're right. This isn't going to work. I'm not leaving the Saints for you. I am not afraid of commitment. So you and I are done. That's how that works. This is how this works.
Another NFL head coaching job is filled as Seattle has hired former Ravens defensive coordinator Mike McDonald as their new leader, signing him to a 6-year deal. The 36-year-old is the league's youngest head coach and led the Ravens to the league's lowest points allowed total, most sacks, and most takeaways in just his second season as coordinator. The Panthers have a new front office member, former Chiefs Vice President of Football Operations Brant Tillis has taken the same role under David Tepper. In Charlotte, Tillis spent 14 years in Kansas City working up to the job and was the lead negotiator for most of their contracts, including Patrick Mahomes' $500 million deal. Tune in Sunday at 1:30 as Furman men's basketball team takes on UNC Greensboro right here on your home for Furman Paladins football and basketball. The Fan, Upstate.
Forestry is big business in South Carolina.
How can people walking around in the woods be big business?
Forestry is everything that's part of the wood product supply chain, and it makes up the third largest industry in the state. In fact, the forest industry in South Carolina ranks number 1 in jobs, number 2 in labor income, and generates an overall economic impact of $23.2 billion.
Wow, forestry is big business in South Carolina.
South Carolina Forests. They'll grow on you. Sponsored by the South Carolina Forestry Commission, the South Carolina Broadcasters Association, and this station.
Hear the biggest game of the year. Super Bowl 58. The Chiefs versus the 49ers. In Vegas, Sunday, February 11th at 2 p.m. Only on the Fan Upstate. 97.7 FM Greenville. 97.1 FM Spartanburg. And on the Odyssey.
Some days I cover up because of my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis. Now I'm hitting the road with clearer skin thanks to Sky Rizzy, Risankizumab Rizza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. With Sky Rizzy, 3 out of 4 people achieved 90% clearer skin at 4 months. And Sky Rizzy is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Sky Rizzy. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills.
Smith and James in the first break.
Or recently received a vaccine.
Smith and James in the first break.
Ask your doctor today about Sky Rizzy, the #1 dermatologist prescribed biologic in psoriasis, and visit skyrizzy.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZZY to learn more.
The Fan.
Upstate.
WYRD Greenville.
WORD Spartanburg.
WSBC HD3 Greenville.
W249GL Greenville.
W246CV Spartanburg. CBS Sports Radio. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
And check this out.
You're on official Rob Brown lockdown.
Represents being real. Yeah.
Real, unfiltered sports talk. Manufactured locally for the Carolinas. This is the Rob Brown Show. Get raw. Only.
The Fan. Upstate.
All right, here we go. The third hour of the Rob Brown Show right here on the Fan Upstate. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Rob Brown and the great one, Lonzo. Be a part of the show. The renewal by Anderson of the Carolinas phone line is 864-448-3772. Nope, 864-326-3663. That's the number. I got like 3 phone lines memorized in my head. 844-326-3663. The text line is open at 71307. 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N. We'll read them on the air. Tweet me at The Rob Brown Show. Tweet Lonzo at Lonzo on Word. And tweet us all at thefanupstate.com. All the different ways to get in touch with the show. And to just round out our conversation that we were having to end the last hour of the show, Yes, the fiance was listening, so I suspect I'll get her perspective later on in the day. All right. That being said,
tried to wingman over here.
no, she was texting me. I don't think she has an issue with it.
Yeah, I think me and the rest of the people listening do not hear certainty in your voice.
No, again, she didn't text me her full opinion, but she just was listen to it and then segued into another conversation. Right. So either A, she really doesn't care, or B, she was like, you're a jerk. We'll find out this afternoon. We'll find out tonight. She just wrote back. She said, I'd have been like, bye. And I don't know if they like bye, have a great time at the game, or like bye, see you never. Jackass.
See, I think the way you read that, you know exactly what that.
Bye.
Yeah.
All right, maybe it's me. I don't know. Maybe it's me. I don't know. All right. Let's get to some more sports stuff. We got Rashad Beard coming up in the next segment. We'll talk a little ball with him, a little Panther ball with him. But before we get there, I'm a basketball guy. I know a lot of people get tired of them. I understand it. I know a lot of people hate the LeBron or Mike, Kobe or Mike, Kobe or LeBron stuff.
Had this conversation yesterday with T2, actually.
Really?
Yes. And
what was his take?
And at the end, I said, here's the thing. You're not a sports guy. So what do you know?
As we established, there's not a sports guy. There's sports guy, which is where Lonzo and I fall. And then there's sports guy.
So his son is starting to play some rec league basketball. And so getting into best of all time discussions, and Michael Jordan's the greatest of all time, and hates LeBron because that's how that's I guess popular thing to do. So I am always amazed, and this started with you, and now I've heard it with him. Kobe Bryant being put in that conversation when he doesn't deserve to be. It's just Michael Jordan and LeBron James, and that's it. There's no Kobe in there. There's room for other people to get in there, but it can't be him because he doesn't play anymore and because unfortunately he passed. But still, you're like the only two people I've ever heard throw him in that conversation.
I think he is in the conversation.
For what? As third? Well, we got to put someone in there at third.
No, I would absolutely say in terms of skill and ability, Kobe Bryant was one of the, I would say, best three basketball players of all time. I would absolutely say he's in the best three. Now, whether you put him 1, 2, or 3, we can have the fight, we can have the debate, but I would say
there is no fight. There is no fight. There's no way he's either 1 or 2. If you believe he's 3, that's fine. Again, this is opinions, but there are plenty of other guys who could go in there at 3.
I mean, you got guys like Kareem, obviously, Jerry West, that would be in there.
Will Chamberlain.
But I would also argue that
some would say Magic, some would say Bird. I mean, there are plenty of people that you could put in there and argue for those people.
I would also say that, and this is where I think the breakdown happens. This is not where I wanted to go, but it does play into the conversation.
And by the way, future Hall of Famer and 1, 2, or 3, Luka Doncic.
All right. So I'm glad you said that. We're coming to that in a second. I think this does to some degree. This conversation's always had the generational gap, right? Like if you grew up an old school guy, you're probably saying Magic is in that spot. If you grew up a 90s kid, it's Mike. If you grew up a 2000s kid, it's Kobe. And if you grew up a late 2000s kid, it's LeBron.
But see, I got into NBA because my cousin, who I worked for at the time, she was really into Michael Jordan. She's like, you need to watch this. I dabbled in NBA when I was at my uncle's house because he's a big time Larry Bird fan. And so I was like, okay, I started watching it. So I got on right when the Bulls were getting ready to win their first championship. So big time Michael Jordan fan. And when he retired, I'm a player guy, not a team guy when it comes to the NBA. I was looking for the next guy who I could latch on to. And as Tim said yesterday, well, it's just because you're an Ohio guy with LeBron. I don't know. Maybe that factors in there somewhere, but no, there's a reason why there are comparisons there. Because he's that good and he's still playing and will have surpassed, but he already has surpassed just about everything Michael Jordan's done except for amount of championships.
Right. So I think the generational gap in this conversation is very real. And part of the reason I think the generational gap plays in is not I think it was Chris Rock that floated a theory that said your favorite music was whatever you're listening to the first time you have bow chicka bow wow time with the ladies, right? That's the music that imprints on you. And I think for a lot of people, the thought was basketball was the same. Whenever you became a basketball fan, whenever your formative years of basketball fandom were, whoever was the GOAT of that era is your GOAT. Magic, Mike, Kobe, LeBron, whoever. But I'm actually gonna throw another bit of discussion in that, right? I think there's another element. And I think the other element is athletes are getting athletier all the time, right? There is not one of us that thinks if we legitimately put them both in the league, that Kareem would do what Kareem did when Shaq was doing it, right? I don't think there's anybody that thinks that, Magic would go against the point guards of the mid-2000s and be the same guy. I'm not saying he wouldn't be good, but the athleticism was just in a different world, right? There's in the NFL, there's pictures of Bart Starr smoking cigarettes on the sideline. You think that guy's going up against Nick Farley and outrunning him? No. The fattest defensive tackle today is faster than the running backs of Bart Starr's day. It's a different world of athletics. And so to take a guy, like I absolutely believe if I took Kobe and put him in Kareem's day, Kobe Bryant would have scored 1,000 points a game, right? So I think that is part of the generational conversation. Now, what's interesting here is the comments of Jason Kidd, head coach of the Dallas Mavericks. Jason Kidd said earlier this week that he firmly believes that Luka Doncic is better than Dirk Nowitzki ever was for Dallas. I'm going to be real with you. I don't really have a problem with that. Dirk Nowitzki
is definitely more athletic than what Dirk was. And just from, I think faster. I mean, there are a lot of things.
Dirk Nowitzki is one of my, and I mean this, favorite players of all time. In fact, if you go comb through the back of the closet in the Casa de Love right now, you will find, I think, 3 basketball jerseys that are not New Orleans jerseys. One of them is the Chicago Bulls Michael Jordan jersey that my dad brought me back from Chi-Town. One of them is a number 33 Larry Bird Boston Celtics jersey. You know what the third one is? Dirk Nowitzki. Because Dirk was at his height when I was out of high school going into college, when I really was like a big NBA guy. Dirk Nowitzki is one of my favorite players of all time. And if you ask me right now who I'd rather build a team around, the answer is Luka Doncic, without a question. Without a question. If you ask me who in the league today I would want to build a team around, it would be very hard not to answer Luka Doncic. Luka is a dude that can do everything except play the 5, right? He can be a point guard, shooting guard. He can play a slashing power forward. He can play a shooting forward. He can play all 5 spots, and he can throw up a 72-point night. We saw him do it a week ago, right? And on top of that, you add in the fact that dude's, 24 years old? Luka's got minimum 6, 7, 8 more years. Like 6, 7, 8 more years in the league. The dude is 24 years old. Kidd said on 97.1, the Freaks show the downbeat.
Come on, you know you love it.
I really do. I would call the show the Freak Show if I could get away with it. We're not shock jockey enough for the Freak Show.
We could do it though. We could.
I think the Weenus and Pitt show is going to stick for a while. He said, quote, he's better than Dirk. He's in the atmosphere of Michael Jordan, the best to ever do it, LeBron, Kobe. And so just to appreciate what this young man's doing at the age of 24, it's something that Dallas has never seen. I've said this internally. He's better than Dirk. He does things that Dirk could never do. And now is the opportunity of getting the right people around him to ultimately win a championship. All right. So I kind of looked at this from two different reasons, right? I looked at this from two different reasons, or two different perspectives, I should say. On one hand, Jason Kidd's an all-timer. Jason Kidd's one of the best to ever play the PG position. Jason Kidd was on my list of favorite players to watch. The way Jason Kidd attacked the point guard position was one of my favorite PGs to ever watch. And so what Jason Kidd has to say about a guy who plays a hybridized role that he played in the NBA, a Hall of Fame career from Jason Kidd. The other side of that coin is he's also Luka's head coach, right? He's also trying to gas his guy up. He's also trying, because right now, if it wasn't for Luka Doncic, the Dallas Mavericks might be one of the worst teams in the NBA. They're just not that good. And I think there is some level of, I think there is a huge level of fault in Dallas that they haven't built around that guy. And when they did try to build around that guy, who'd they go get? Kyrie Irving. A guy who is obviously known quite well for being a wonderful team guy, for being a guy who makes everybody around him better. That's what Kyrie's known for, right? No, of course not. Of course not. Kyrie doesn't make anything better except sale of sage and herbs in whatever city he lives in, and the number of people who think the earth is flat. That's the only two things Kyrie Irving makes better. So you got Josh Green, Derrick Jones Jr., and Derek Lively with Luka and Kyrie. And is there anybody out there right now that thinks that list of, they got Seth Curry, not Steph, Seth Curry. Is anybody looking at that roster and thinking, yeah, Dallas has done a wonderful job building around one of, if not the best players in the NBA today? Anybody think that Dallas has done a good job building up around Luka Doncic? No. So I do think there's some element of J. Kidd trying to talk up his boy, right? Trying to talk up his superstar, trying to gas his guy and get him excited, get him juiced to play. At the same time, though, I'm not really mad about what J. Kidd had to say. I'm not really upset with Jason Kidd saying that. Now, do I think it's probably early to say he's in Jordan's atmosphere? Yeah, he's 24. He's got 8, 9, 10 more years to play in the league. I think the better way to phrase it would have been, when Luka's done, Luka will be in the Michael Jordan conversation.
Right, people were saying the same thing about Patrick Mahomes when early on, he's going to surpass Tom Brady. He's going to, people are going to forget all about Brady and all that kind of stuff. And people were getting pretty angry about that. And now it's looking like there's a good possibility that could be accurate. It may or may not be, but he's definitely on the road to doing that. So maybe Jason Kidd's right.
I think he is. I think Jason Kidd is right.
That's why I'm always going to be greatest of all time so far, because I believe that there's always going to be someone out there that could surpass who you believe was the greatest.
Sure. I mean, listen, somebody put up the other day.
If you put it in your mind, that's it. There can't be anything ever again. You've just closed yourself off to possibilities.
Somebody put up the other day, through the first 6 years of their career, the comparison between Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady. Patrick Mahomes got more playoff wins than Brady. He's in the same atmosphere. The numbers are eerily similar between those two guys. Now, I've made the argument I don't think Mahomes catches Brady, not because he's not incredibly talented, but because the style of football he plays, he can't play until he's 37.
All right, how many Super Bowls does he need to catch him?
He's got 2, so 5. But, again, the style of ball Mahomes plays, I don't think is tenable for the guy to play to 37, and I don't think he's going 5 for 5 in the next 5. I could be wrong.
I think it's gonna come down to who they replace Kelsey with when Kelsey finally retires and some things like that. If they actually start picking up pieces again, which they've started with Rashee Rice and some other guys starting to step up, they get some more people in the draft. They continue to have good offensive line play. Why not? And the fact that the defense has finally caught up with the offense,
yes, it has,
to a degree.
Because Patrick Mahomes takes contact, because Patrick Mahomes' speed is not going up anymore. It's only going to come down year by year, and that's a big part of the game. But to keep it centered on where we started, on Luka, I have zero problem saying that Patrick Mahomes will end up being in the Tom Brady atmosphere. The same way I don't have a problem saying Luka Doncic will end up being in the Michael Jordan atmosphere. I do think so. I think the one thing that is going to harm Luka is that this team, the Dallas Mavericks, has done an absolute job building around this cat. And if they put in the effort to build around him the way that Milwaukee is built around Giannis Antetokounmpo, Luka Doncic would be accomplishing what Giannis is accomplishing, getting the accolades that Giannis is getting, and would already be in that discussion. We got to take a break. When we come back here in a minute, Rashad Beard, host of the Panther Nation podcast, is here. We'll talk to him about some of the assistant coaching hires. We'll talk to him about Ejiro Evero, decide if he's going to stick around and what it means if he does not for Carolina. That's all coming up next on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. All right, guys, I got a live reading. We're coming back with Rashad. Stay right there for me. Rashad Beard, what's up, big fella?
Gentlemen, what's going on?
Oh, another day in paradise, dude. How you doing?
Man, same old, same old.
Same old, same old. That's a lie. You've been busy. Don't lie.
Staying alive, staying alive.
That's it. Loud and clear.
Staying alive.
Thank you. I was hoping you would continue. Yeah.
No, of the three people on the screen right now, if you'd asked me which one was going to hit the first Bee Gees reference on the show, I did not think it was going to be Rashad.
Come on, man. My dad has records, man. I'm old school.
I like it. I like it.
My mom had records too, and but of course I was alive during the disco era.
I was gonna say,
Yeah, I mean,
when the Bee Gees sang "Staying Alive,"
I just want to point out that was before puberty, so I was killing those notes.
Ah, man, that's funny. That's funny.
I for Christmas one year asked for a Denny Terrio How to Disco Dance double record.
No one in this stream but you knows what that means.
I have no clue what you're talking about.
It's a how to disco dance record, and on the sleeves for each dance it would give you an hand motions and stuff about.
All
how to
right,
do
so
it.
now you got to show us what you learned, because I know you still remember.
No,
Come
I
on,
don't.
man.
I don't disco dance anymore. Here, I'll give you one of these. There we go.
That's it. There you go.
There we go. Yeah. My mom would have friends over and make me disco dance with her, which was, so I had to be her dance partner.
Nice.
But my mom is 5 foot tall, so after a while that stopped happening.
Like 1978.
I started getting taller. I mean, it's not that hard to get taller than 5 feet. I mean, when she wanted to do the bump, and then I kept knocking her into the other room, it was time to stop. I did that on purpose so I wouldn't have to do it anymore. She also dressed me in plaid bell bottoms to go to the skating rink. So, I mean, they look pretty sweet though.
Dude said this ribeye steak commercial guy could give Rob a run for his money.
That meat truck
Sorry,
guy.
man, meat truck guy.
He's legendary though. You're not legendary, not yet.
Not yet. I have advertised meat in the past, but not like that.
Listen, I'm not cracking on hype, but when it comes to doing certain disco dances, high problems. So
no
when
one in this chat but you has done disco.
No, there's he said he's currently 5 foot tall. You got to get it's a hip thing, so you got to get all the way down there and hit your hip to their hip, and it's a low thing.
Oh man, my chat is funny. Advertising meat is crazy, Rob. Come on, man.
Say what?
Advertising meat is crazy, man.
It's a meat truck. You know those meat trucks that drive up to your house and go, "Hey man, you want to buy 5 ribeyes?" It's one of those
that parks in parking lots and they just sell meat out of the back of it. And the dude that does the commercial,
it's a killer spot though.
We got ribeyes 40 for $1. Like he's like a pro wrestler, bro. It's ridiculous, and I love it.
Oh man, the good times, good times.
Yeah, the Rob Brown Show stream where the phrase "meat truck is wild" might be the new slogan of the show. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is the Rob Brown Show. It is the Fan Upstate. If you want to watch that stream, you can do it Facebook.com/TheFanUpstate, Twitter.com/TheFanUpstate, on YouTube, searching the Fan Upstate or the Rob Brown Show, and the Rob Brown Show on Twitch, all available to you. Speaking of streams, if you are a Carolina Panther fan, there is not going to be one more valuable to you than the Panther Nation podcast. And my guy, Rashad Beard, host of the PNP, joins us on Thursdays to talk a little Big Cat football. What's up, fella?
How's it going, man? All is well. Excited about today. We get to learn about our new coach and our GM structure, so it's going to be great. Good times.
Press conference coming up here. As a matter of fact, right at the end of this show, it'll be time to meet Dan Morgan and meet Dave Canellis. We saw the video yesterday of Dave walking into the facility for the first time, and Dave Tepper was there, and they did some like weird chant thing, whatever. Hey, it's corporate culture, man. That's why I'm not in charge. But what's that press conference sound like? What do you want? Let's start with Dan Morgan, because I got to be real with you. I think Morgan, over the next couple of years, may be more important than Canellis to get this thing on the right track. What do you want to hear out of that guy today? Besides, Dave Tepper's going to leave me the hell alone.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting to hear how his interview went. Like, what did he go into the interview saying? What is his plans moving forward? Did he disagree with everything that was done before him? I know some of those answers are going to be, or some of those questions are going to be asked of him. Did you agree with trading up for Bryce Young? Those type of questions. It's going to be interesting to see how the reporters pick his brain, because he's been around, right? He's a holdover. For all intents and purposes, he may do things different, but he is a holdover from the prior regime. So what is going to differentiate you from what we just had in that train wreck that just occurred? So it's going to be interesting. I mean, I don't know what I expect to hear from him, but I'm not, these press conferences, it's a dog and pony show, man. They're going to put their best face forward. To me, it's about the action moving forward after this press conference. So that's what I'm more interested to see.
Yeah, no, I think that's got to be the right way to look at it, right? Like at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you're looking to hire somebody, date somebody, be friends with somebody, get them on your show, whatever. What you say don't matter. What you do does matter. So I agree with that. But at the same time, I would like to see him press a little bit, right? Like I think you asked a great question. Were you on board with Bryce? Did you want CJ? What conversations did you and David Tepper have about your relationship back and forth? And I got to tell you, like, if I don't hear Dan Morgan say, Dave Tepper said that he realized that he was probably too involved and he's giving me control or something like that, Rashad, I'm just not going to let my hopes go up again because I'm kind of tired of making that mistake, to be honest with you.
Yeah, man, and I think most of the fan base feels that way. We're cautiously optimistic. We don't want to put our hearts out there to be destroyed again. And so we're just waiting to see, man. I mean, again, it'd be great to see him pressed a little bit, like you're saying. But you're not going to hear Dan Morgan, trash David Tepper like we want to hear. But
sure.
that's not going to happen. But we would like to hear, hey, I zigged when they zagged, right? My thought process was different. This is what I thought about some of the situations, and this is what I think about moving forward. We want to prioritize Derek Brown, Brian Burns, some of that stuff. I mean, it's going to be interesting. I'm waiting to see what they say, but I'm not anticipating anything groundbreaking from this press conference at 10 o'clock.
Yeah, and just so I think Panthers fans need to be made clear, Dan Morgan is not going to say anything about Bryce Young negatively, right? Like we all know better. That's the dumbest thing he might do. The question to me is, like I said, and I don't think he's going to say anything derogatory about Dave Tepper. I don't really need him to. I just need him to talk about what that relationship looks like. Like as a fan outside looking in, we saw the relationship between Fitterer and Tepper. A lot of fans have question marks about it. How would you describe the relationship between you and Tepper and how you see that playing out this year? As far as Dave Canellis goes, we've had a week to kind of sit on it, churn it, think about it, contemplate. I talked myself into Rashad Beard, and maybe this is a bad idea, mild, cautious optimism about Dave Canellis, right? I went with, he bumped up Russell Wilson's play. Russell played well enough to get that trade to Denver. He bumped up Geno Smith's play. Geno Smith got at least considered for NFL Comeback Player of the Year. He goes to Tampa. He bumps up Baker Mayfield's play. Bake is coming off now the best career year he's had as an NFL quarterback. He's done it 3 years in a row for 3 different quarterbacks now. Why not BY?
Yeah, man, I hate to don't set yourself up like that, man. I think it's tough, and again, we have to understand, can Dave Canellis manage a game? It's different from when you're just coaching wide receivers, or you're coaching, you're calling plays for 1 year. Now you're the head coach. You're the guy. You have to manage everything. So it's more than just the X's and O's. You've got to manage the entire locker room. You've got to build a culture. So again, it's different. It's not just, like I said, calling plays and coaching position group. You got to go in there and you got to be able to manage this entire situation. So I hope for the best. And I don't want to go into the saying he's not going to do it. I hope he does. But at the same time, I'm a wait and see type of guy. We've been tricked before, especially last year with this coaching staff. The all-star coaching staff, we got excited about that. We just knew we had the best thing cooking, and we got cooked. You know what I mean? So I'm not gonna put myself out there and hold Dave Canellis to expectations that I know he's not gonna be able to grasp. I'm just hoping for some progression. Same energy that I kept last year, I'm going to keep this year. We want to see some progression, man. Move BY along, get some talent around him, and let's go from there, and let's see what happens.
All right. I'm glad you said that. I've seen a couple of people in the chat so far that have said something similar. I said on the show yesterday, to me, this is a 2-year turnaround for Carolina, right? I think a lot of people saw what happened in Houston and don't recognize that bro, Houston's the exception, not the rule. The reason we're talking about Houston is because they're the exception, not the rule. And to me, this turnaround comes in two parts. I think part number one is you got to fix, as you said a second ago, you got to fix the locker room. You got to fix the culture. And I don't know how much you can do that, because Tep, I was listening, who was it? I think it was Rappaport the other day pointed out comparisons between Tepper and the Haslams in Cleveland, right? For like 2-3 years, the conversation was the Haslams are too involved. They got their fingers on everything. They're this, they're that. And then they made a couple of good drafts and they got baked, and all of a sudden the Browns make a playoff game and you don't hear about the Haslams anymore, right? And I think it was Rappaport that said, once this team gets to where fans want it to be, Tep's going to step back. But man, like, you're the reason it's not getting to where you want it to be. So year one is change the culture. Year two is talent acquisition, concept execution, et cetera, et cetera. So to me, the biggest thing I'm looking for with Canellis as the play caller, with Idzik coming in as the OC, who is basically going to be, I think, a culture guy. Like, how do you keep this offense from not falling on its face and then getting down in the dirt about it? Like, next year to me is, let's get this program on the same page, pointed the right way, believing in itself, get that culture right. Because it doesn't matter how good the free agents you bring in are, how good the draft is. If your team is scattered and you got coaches, snitching on each other, none of that matters, man. Like, you're not going to be good.
Yeah, and I think what it boils down to is patience, right? And it all goes back to Tepper. You say 2-year plan. Well, we know a coach that didn't even get a year. You know what I mean? So if things don't go his way, Tepper's way, and the things aren't, aligning properly, then he's got to be able to say, all right, let me sit back. I chose this guy. Sportsology helped me choose this guy. Let me trust what's in place and let it cook. You have to let it develop. He did that with Matt Rule. I'll give him credit for that. It seemed like he's doing it with the wrong choices. You know what I mean? So he's got to give Canellis some time to implement said culture, said identity, said, personnel, and allow him to build, right? And it can't just be a 1-year thing. It can't just be a 2-year thing, honestly. This has to play out the entire term of Bryce Year's career, right? If it's going to be a 3-year career at the end of his contract, then those two guys need to be married together. Canellis and Bryce Young, they need to enter at the same time and leave at the same time. You know what I mean? So I feel like, again, there has to be a plan, and Canellis took this job knowing that he's tied to Bryce Young and the development of Bryce Young. If Bryce Young isn't coming along, then you can them both and you move on. But we got to give time for Canellis to get it going, and I believe Tepper is going to do that. I hope he does that, and I hope that Dan Morgan and now Brant Tillis will allow those guys to then, again, bring in some talent and start building.
Listen, I read the Brant Tillis news, and that's surface level super exciting, right? You got a guy that's been in Kansas City for the entire ride that they're on building this dynasty. He is the contract negotiator for Kansas City. He worked out the $500 million deal with Mahomes. He got Chris Jones back on contract and not leaving Kansas City. This dude's done a lot of good in Kansas City, but I've also said, hey, the flip side is, like, they do have Patrick Mahomes. Like, part of the reason for the success is just having that guy under center. But all that aside, whether the guy's a super genius or just one of many beneficiaries of happening to be working for a team that had Patrick Mahomes, at the end of the day, it's another one of these spots. And I kind of feel like we're beating a dead horse here, Rashad, where that guy might be a freaking wizard, but if he shows up and the owner's got to have his finger on the scale every time something's going to get moved, It won't matter that you're bringing in a VP of operations who is a superstar if Tep feels like that's his responsibility too. That being said, if Tep's going to step back, Brant Tillis is a hell of a good hire for Carolina.
Yeah, I mean, you got to let the people do their jobs. I mean, these folks have a track record, especially Tillis. I was on board with Tillis back before we hired Scott Fitterer. When we did our GM breakdown, we interviewed Tillis back then and did not bring him in. We chose Scott Fitterer over him, and I was like, man, this guy, he's done a great job with Cleveland. With the Chiefs. And you're right, they do have Patrick Mahomes, they do have Andy Reid, but at the end of the day, the numbers are the numbers. Either you can crunch them or you can't, right? And so I believe that that he's going to be able to do this job, right? I think he's got some current contracts he's got to figure out. One with with Brian Burns and Derek Brown. So we'll see what happens there. But the numbers are the numbers. You got to be able to crunch them or you can't. And so I think he's going to be able to do that, and we'll see what happens there. But I don't know. He's got to be allowed to do his job. You're correct. You're absolutely
Rashad
correct.
Beard, host of the Panther Nation podcast, joins the Rob Brown Show every single Thursday to talk Carolina Panther football here on the show. We've got some of the other position spots filled out, running backs coach, wide receiver coach, etc. Anybody that stood out to you as far as hires, anybody that made you go, all right, that's a good one. I like that one. I don't like that. What do you thought about the assistant coaching hires the last couple of days?
Nothing groundbreaking. I do like the fact that there's some connections here. There's some connections with some of the previous guys. You know, the last go around we had a bunch of superstars come together. Yeah, I know it's the glare. It's the glare on I've got the sun coming in. My apologies. But yeah, last time we had you know, the all-star coaching staff put together, and that didn't work out too well. So now Canellis has the opportunity to bring in his own guys, and we'll see. I like Izzik. Izzik has been around with Dave Canellis in the past, and so I like that. He's been with him at Seattle. I like the Godwin hire as the assistant head coach. That's going to be a great job. He did a fantastic. He's got a very, very good track record. He's won everywhere he's been. He has 2 Super Bowls. He's won a conference or a division title everywhere he's been except for the Colts. So that assistant coach hire is great as well. So yeah, I like the staff. We'll see how it works out.
Rashad Beard here on the Rob Brown Show and the fan upstate. As far as it goes, obviously we know he's not coming in to call plays. That is going to be on Canellis. What's his role? Like, my thought was, and we talked about this very briefly a second ago, this is a dude who is coming in to almost kind of be like a mental trampoline for this team, right? Like, I got to keep BY up, even if he goes out there and has a 2 or 3 INT day. I got to make sure he's in a good head place. I got to make sure that the right personnel groupings. The thing that I think he's got to be responsible for is to take care of as many details as he can so that BY and Dave Canellis can focus on quarterbacking and play calling, not have to worry about personnel. Like, I know that was an issue with Frank Reich, right? Like, you're in big spots in games. And Frank Reich says in a press conference, yeah, I caught a play for Adam Thielen where not only was he the only wide receiver running a route, but he wasn't even on the damn football field when I did it, right? Take care of all the details around Dave Canellis so that he can focus on play calling, BY can focus on quarterbacking, and make those 2 guys as good as they can be. And from what I understand, Izzik's kind of a details guy, so that might be a good hire for that reason.
Yeah, I think Izzik is going to have a very important role. I think it comes to game planning, right? I think he doesn't have to be the day-to-day play caller, but he has to assist with putting together a game plan. You know, figuring out the ways to get the best of the defense. And so he's going to have a role, and I think he's going to develop over time. And hopefully, you know, Canellis could start to build his own kind of pseudo McVay coaching tree where you start to develop these guys and they start to go off and get jobs elsewhere. You know, Izzik is a guy that's he's gotten a lot of hype around the league. He's kind of a budding star. So again, like you're saying, he's a details-oriented guy, and hopefully that applies to all of the game planning and helping Canellis get the best out of his guys and putting those guys in the best position to succeed. So it's a very important role, even though he's not calling plays. But we'll see. We'll see how it all works out. I hope we get that question answered today as well.
Rashad Beard, host of the Panther Nation podcast, joins us every Thursday to talk Carolina football. You guys going live after the presser today?
I'm going live during the presser. Yeah, I like doing live reactions, kind of, you know, calling cap when there's cap. So I like to, the fans like to, you know, my listeners like to see me live react to those. So I'll be going live at 10 o'clock during the press conference to give my live reaction. So yeah, now I'll be going live as well over the weekend during the Senior Bowl. That's going on as well. Just kind of see what's going on out there. Yeah, a lot of good stuff. A lot happening right now.
I like it.
Stuff happening.
So stick around for the rest of the Rob Brown Show here on YouTube and Twitch. And then when that's over, jump over to the Panther Nation podcast YouTube channel where they go live for the presser. And next week, we'll break it all down, big dog. Appreciate you.
Absolutely, man. Let's do it. Let's get it. Exciting times in Carolina. Let's just hope. Cautiously optimistic.
Got to go to a break. Rashad, stay there because I want to ask you one question off the air before we let you go. For everybody else, don't go anywhere. The Rob Brown Show's back after this. It is the Fan Upstate. Tell me about that helmet over the left shoulder inside the case, big fella. That garnet and gold.
Oh, yeah, Florida State. Yeah, I'm a Florida State fan, man.
Are you?
Yeah, I'm Florida State. I'm an old school Florida State fan. Back in the day, Peter Warwick, Dunn. Those are my guys. So
I
I'm
didn't know
not so much like recently, but just old school. That helmet right
Okay.
there is Bobby Bowden's signature. Charlie Ward, couple guys on it. Yeah,
I dig
old
it.
school.
I didn't
fan.
know that. Didn't know
Yep.
that. Interesting. All right, man. Appreciate you, big dog.
All right. Have a good one, man.
All right, boys. Appreciate it. Y'all in the chat, you're welcome to stick around at the Rob Brown Show. Everybody else, we'll see y'all next Thursday. All right, we are going to step away for 30 seconds. Like I said, follow us on the Rob Brown Show across all of the streaming platforms. BRB. All right, we're back. Appreciate y'all hanging out. Those of y'all that jumped on over, man, great to have you. Welcome in. Appreciate Rashad as always.
Don't let this pain keep you from living your best life. QC Kinetics advanced state-of-the-art treatments harness and direct your body's natural ability to restore and repair damaged joint tissue. This is a revolutionary approach that can get you long-term relief with no downtime. Make 2024 the year you reclaim your mobility, reclaim your independence, walk and run, play and live without the danger and trauma of surgery and without harmful drugs. Call QC Kinetics now for a free consultation. 864-448-3772. That's 864-448-3772, Greenville and Asheville.
It's easy to think all money managers are pretty much the same, but at Fisher Investments, we're clearly different.
Different how? You sell high commission investment products, right?
No, Fisher Investments doesn't sell any commission-based investment products.
Well, you must earn commissions on trades.
Nope, never at Fisher. We're a fiduciary, obligated to act in our client's best interest. It's the highest standard of care for a financial advisor.
How do you know what's in their best interest?
We get to know our clients and then tailor a portfolio based on their goals and needs.
But you probably sneak in some hidden and layered fees.
No, we have one transparent management fee, structured so we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, you really do look out for your clients.
That's because our top priority is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement. It might be why most of our clients come from other money managers. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments, clearly different money management.
Investments and securities involve the risk of loss.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that.
Oh, man.
Politics is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6812. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. There is zero risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt, then you pay nothing. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have a 5-star rating on Google and Yelp and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
Trying to see where the... I'm guessing the Panthers are going to put that presser up on their website. They usually do.
It's right at 10 too, so that's what I saw earlier. I don't know how prompt they are, so
They're usually pretty good about it, honestly. I think when they introduced Reich, it started like 1 minute late. NFL to investigate Patriots wide receiver Kayshon Boutte over 8,927 bets while at LSU. I don't think I have made 8,000 bets in my life. That's an insane number.
Love that NIL money. Get that cash and go out and do what you want
Hey,
with
man,
it.
it's your money.
Apparently,
adult privileges have adult consequences.
I was going to say, why is he being investigated then? Guess you can't bet on your own team or bet period.
That is correct.
College players aren't allowed to bet, right? Well, NFL players aren't allowed to bet.
Correct. In fact, not only are they not allowed to bet, the NFL has told the Chiefs and the 49ers players that they are not allowed to bet at all when they're in Vegas for the Super Bowl. No blackjack, no slot machines, no nothing. I'd be pretty upset about that, to be honest. The Rob Brown Show carries on. It is the Fan Upstate. Thanks very much, as always, to Rashad Beard for coming by on Thursdays to talk Carolina Panther football with us. Dan Morgan, new GM. Dave Canellis, new head coach of the Panthers, will be introduced at the conclusion. I appreciate Dave Tepper, scheduling the press conference, Lonzo, for the conclusion of this show. Obviously, they put us on up there at HQ, listen to the show every day. So, they checked in and they're like, all right, well, Rob's off the air at 10, so we'll go ahead and schedule the presser for 10 o'clock. I appreciate that.
I'm going to give the credit to Dan Morgan. That guy looks organized, and I don't see anybody asking him, trying to press him on questions.
Real talk.
Because he might walk out into the press corps and go, what'd you say?
Real talk. I really hope we get like player attitude Dan Morgan. You know what I mean? Like, I hope we get Dan Morgan with that intensity, that I will eat your face stare. Like, I hope we get linebacker style Dan Morgan as GM, both because it would make me laugh a lot, A, and B, because the more intense that guy is, the more I can lull myself into a false sense of belief that he's going to tell Dave Tepper back the hell up.
Yeah, but and there's also the possibility that someone from that press corps is Jim Rome-like, willing to press them because they're unafraid. I just want him to walk out in the audience, get up in the guy's face and say, ask me that question again. Just want to see that.
I'm interested, man. I'm interested.
He's a very intense individual, at least he appears to be.
For sure. I'm excited about it. They asked Cam Newton, because every time the Carolina Panthers do anything, we have to get Cam's opinion, right?
Well, he's the foremost in football knowledge.
Is he the most well-known Panther of all time? I think he is, right?
Yeah, he would have to be.
So they asked him about Dave Canellis, and his answer was, and I got to tell you, Cam has grown on me as a football talker. His answer was, I don't know yet. They asked him about Dan Morgan, and they asked him about Dave Canellis. And about Morgan, he said, I'm excited. He knows the city. He knows the culture. He knows the community. He was a part of some of the best Panther teams of all time. Like, he gets it, right? One of the things that we have talked about that I think the Panthers do as well, if not better than anybody else in the game, is incorporate the fans and the legends into the fold. We constantly hear from old Panthers players. I've been to, I think, 3 Panthers games since I moved here, and every one of them, they have a couple of old Panthers, like legendary Panthers, show up to pound the drum or whatever the case might be. I think Carolina does a spectacular job, as good as anybody else in the NFL, of incorporating their fans and their legends. The only thing they're not doing right is being a good football team. So they went to Cam Newton. They said, what do you think about Canellis and Morgan? He said, as far as Morgan goes, he gets the city. He gets the culture. He understands what it takes to win in Carolina, and I think that's good news. And then they said, what about Dave Canellis? And Cam's response was, I don't know. I don't know. Said the same thing I've been telling you guys for a week now. He's got a legacy of doing good work with quarterbacks at 3 different levels. Russ, Gino, and Bake in 3 different situations. And the optimism, I think, has to come from the fact that the thing you need is somebody who's going to work well with the quarterback. That it's priority number 1 is get Bryce Young up to speed. You are hoping to do with Bryce Young what the Eagles did with Jalen Hurts, what the Jags did with Trevor Lawrence, right? We're going to take the first year. We're going to go, all right, situation wasn't great. We're going to try to get you up to speed in year 2. And that is what Canellis has done so far. That's been the MO for Dave Canellis. So I think I respect Cam's take on that. I think it is very much fair to look at Dave Canellis and go, I don't know. You don't know. We know the things he has done. We have no idea what he's going to do as an HC, which is why I have said from the beginning, Lonzo, cautious optimism.
I do love that Rashad's like me when you ask him the same thing that I said on the air earlier this week or last week. It's like, yeah, not going to get me again. It's going to back off and wait and just see.
Honestly, it's a fair position to hold. It's a fair position to hold. I have been burned multiple times, right? You're like a lovesick serial dater. Not get my hopes up for the next one. You will. Cautious optimism. Full optimism, however, that Alonso's going to nail this sports flash. I know it's weird. We're to break on time.
Well, if you want to consider that, I'd like to say it's early. The Panthers have a head coach and offensive coordinator and most of their position coaches, but may be on the hunt for a new defensive coordinator soon. Reports are surfacing that defensive coordinator Ejiro Evero may be interested in moving on to a new defensive coordinator position elsewhere. The Panthers have hoped to retain Evero and have blocked him from interviewing with at least 3 other teams. Another NFL head coaching job is filled as Seattle has hired former Ravens defensive coordinator Mike McDonald as their new leader, signing him to a 6-year deal. The 36-year-old is the league's youngest head coach and led the Ravens to the league's lowest points allowed total, most sacks, and most takeaways in just his 2nd season as a coordinator. Tune in Sunday at 1:30 as the Furman men's basketball team takes on UNC Greensboro right here on the Fan Upstate. Meat truck.
Come buy some meat.
Meat truck.
Meat truck.
Don't you want to drive by just to see if that dude's the
100%.
guy who's selling the meat?
How can I help you, bro? Do you want some meat? How much meat do you want, sissy? We sell meat by the box.
Do you have like an extra freezer for meat?
If you don't have a meat freezer, what are you doing, bro?
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who use ZipRecruiter.
James and Joey have both said that either, well, James said Cam or Smitty. Joey said Smitty's the most recognizable Panther in history. Not even close. Cam is a distant second.
That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to.
Cam's probably not going to beat you up if you say he's not first. Steve Smith probably will.
Hotter than fish grease, bro.
Sorry, Steve Smith Sr. No, Kuechly did not die. That's a good point, though. But I think he's definitely more recognized on the field than he is off the field.
For sure.
Yeah.
For shizzle.
That's why millions of maintenance and repair pros trust Rozer, because we have professional grade supplies for every industry, even hard to find products. And we have same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders. But most importantly, we have an unwavering commitment to help keep you up and running.
Being the most famous, I think, also has to be most recognizable, has to be part of it also. That means if they walk in the room, you know, even if you're not a Panthers fan, you know who they are. Let's face it. The way Cam dresses with his cool hats and everything, you're going to notice him when he walks in no matter what. Steve Smith is like everywhere.
Machismo.
Say hello to the bad.
I am the bad guy. Machismo. The bad guy. And we love some Rozer Ramon. Ric Flair loved nothing more than grabbing a mic and telling you how much better he was at you than everything.
Don't hit snooze. Play the Rob Brown Show. Now morning 6 to 10 on The Fan.
The Fan Upstate.
When it comes to the best sports talk anywhere, listen to The Fan Upstate on Odyssey, no matter where you are, in the car, at home, at work. Download the free Odyssey app on your phone. Search The Fan Upstate and you're in the game. The Fan Upstate. Hear the biggest game of the year. Super Bowl 58, the Chiefs versus the 49ers. Sunday, February 11th at 2 p.m. We know it's going to be off by 60 minutes. For an official Rob Brown lockdown. Unfiltered sports talk. Manufactured locally for the Carolinas. This is the Rob Brown Show. Only on
The Fan Upstate.
And off we go into the final hour of the Rob Brown Show, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Fan Upstate. How do you do, America? It's great to be with you. I am Rob Brown, the great Malonzo on the ones and twos. This beautiful Upstate Thursday morning. We got a segment here. Then we got Fight Club with the great one coming up next. Then we got What the X is going on. And then we're off to Friday, my friends, just like that. And yes, if you woke up and you looked at the calendar this morning, you will realize that last Tuesday was New Year's Day, and now it's February, just like that. Time flies when you're making award-winning radio, ladies and gentlemen. The renewal by Anderson of the Carolinas phone line is open right now, 844-326-3663. 844-326-3663. The text line is open at 71307, if you want to get at us in that direction. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N. We will read them on the air. You can tweet me at The Rob Brown Show, at The Rob Brown Show. You can tweet the great one at Lonzo Onward. You can tweet everybody up here at The Fan Upstate. Make sure you check out the website at thefanupstate.com, thefanupstate.com, including our podcast section. Our podcast section is there for you right now, every hour of every show, and that does include highlight segments and, well, frankly, every segment that we do every day. At thefanupstate.com, go to the podcast section, drop it down, click on the Rob Brown Show, and they're all right there for you. Also want to remind you, ladies and gentlemen, that the home for Super Bowl, whatever number it is right here on the Fan Upstate. What number is it? Do you know off the top of your head? 58, right? I think it's 58.
I don't think it. I was going to go 48.
No, it's in. I know it's in the 50s because we
Are
did
you
the
sure?
we did the big special 50th logo not too long ago. It is LVIII. I believe that is 58.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's fine.
There was somebody put up a chart yesterday of you can track what people are searching on Google, and every year at this time, the spike for how do Roman numerals work goes through the roof, and then by mid-February it's back to zero. We care about Roman numerals one time a year. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's 58. Anyway, whatever. It's right here on the Fan Upstate. So if you're one of those unlucky you-know-whats that got to be out there working on Super Bowl Sunday, you can't be in front of the TV, don't worry. We here at the Fan Upstate have you covered with wall-to-wall coverage all day long. And coverage of that game on the Fan Upstate presented by Solo Stove. Feel the heat of the world's most popular smokeless fire pit. Go to solostove.com. All right, we got a few more things that we need to get to on the radio broadcast today before we get up out of here for the day. Your television audience numbers for the playoffs are officially out, and according to ESPN, NFL, and Nielsen, the first 3 weekends of the postseason averaged 38.5 million viewers on television and digital platforms. That is a nearly 10% increase over last year. The Chiefs' 17-10 win over Baltimore averaged 55.47 million viewers at any given time on CBS, making it the most watched AFC Championship game of all time. The previous mark, 54.85, when the Steelers beat the Jets to advance to the Super Bowl in 2010. The audience peaked at 64.02 million people. It was also CBS most watched non-Super Bowl program since the 1994 Winter Olympics in prime time in February of 1994.
Take that, Taylor haters.
The same. San Francisco 49ers 34-31 comeback over the Lions on Fox, average 56.69 nice million viewers, the most watched NFC Championship game since 2012. It is also the fourth most watched non-Super Bowl telecast in network history. It peaked at 58.97 million viewers during the fourth quarter. The 56.1 million watcher average for the conference championships is an 11% jump over last year. CBS is averaging 45.61 million viewers for its postseason games. Of course, CBS is the Super Bowl's home this year. It is the network's highest average since the NFL returned to the network in 1998. It is a 12% average increase since last year. The point here, ladies and gentlemen, is football's king. It just is what it is. I'm a basketball guy. Football's king. I think we gave you the chart a couple of weeks ago of the 100 highest viewed or most viewed television programs of 2023. Of the 100, 97 of them were NFL games. One was a college game, the national championship game. One was a political broadcast, and one was an award show. I don't remember if it was the Grammys or the Oscars or whatever it was. 100 most watched television programs, 97 of the 100 were NFL games. That, Lonzo, is most of them.
I would say yes, that you're correct.
Yeah, football's king, man. If you wonder why it is that football players are getting paid that much money, it is because if you stick your commercial in a playoff game, you are going to be a part of the 100 most watched television programs any given year, and the numbers are still going up. Remember a handful of years ago when everybody said they were not going to watch the NFL anymore? Nope.
So if you're a singing electric plug or outlet, you're going to get seen 10,000 times during the
I don't know
game.
how I feel about that commercial. Like, on one hand,
I like it. You know what, though? I have no idea what it was for. Actually, I do. It's iPhone.
yeah,
I had to think about it, though.
it's for iPhone because it holds a longer charge now.
Yeah.
On one hand, it's a little creepy. That is a very realistic looking singing electrical outlet. On the other hand, that song is a banger, dude.
It is.
The song's a banger.
I have no idea who sings it.
I don't either.
Yeah.
But I need to find out. It's a good tune, man. Good song.
And when the upper outlet starts hitting the back up, it's like okay, that's pretty cool.
It's like, on one hand, it makes me feel very, very odd, like very off. It's like off-putting. On the other hand, I'm like, yo, the song's good, the animation's good, it's a good commercial. What's the oh, you know what I did see the other day that I bring up with absolutely zero plan to bring this up today?
By the way, it's Doughboy.
Doughboy.
Yes.
I did not sing that song. Oh, sorry, that's what people call me. It's the actual artist. Got it.
Yeah, it's Doughboy as in Doughboy, not white guy. Although he could be a white guy. I don't know.
Way to go, Doughboy. I saw something the other day that said that in surveys.
He's from Ohio, by the way.
And Zoe gets another one. Zohio gets another one. I saw a study the other day that said Super Bowl commercials that do not feature celebrities regularly get more positive feedback than Super Bowl commercials that do. I don't know why I tell you that. I don't really have any hot takes on it. I just found that very interesting. Have the commercials the last few years been kind of disappointing?
They are.
They just kind of feel like commercials.
But the other thing is putting out teasers for the commercials, and if you want to see it before it's on the Super Bowl, to go to this website and things like that. The mystery is gone.
Yeah, like it used to be. You get the what up commercial, and it kind of came out of the blue, and you're like, "What the hell did I just watch?" Budweiser, right? What was that? What am I doing? What am I seeing here? And now you get like 3 weeks of previews of a commercial. There's one right now. I can't remember. Oh, it's like an M&M's commercial, and it's got Dan Marino and who's the other guy? Is Steve Young? But it's got like Dan Marino, I think Steve Young in it. And they're talking to the red M&M. And it's like, watch the big game for the commercial. I'm like, didn't I just kind of do that already? I don't know. Prop bets are out, by the way. You know, next week we're hammering segments on prop bets. One of the prop bets you can get right now, great one, is, will Travis Kelce propose to Taylor Swift at the Super Bowl?
Stop that. I mean, it would be a unique place to do it, but I don't believe that for
It's
a
too
second.
soon.
Yeah.
It's too soon. But then again, it is celebrity world. Celebrity world works different than us, works different. So you can get, I want to say the number was like minus 2,000 no, like plus 575 yes. I mean, you can get, like, if you think there's a chance Travis Kelce goes out, catches a $122 and 3 touchdowns and decides this is it, this is the moment, I'll never have a bigger platform, and he goes ahead and tries to lock it down with the billionaire American princess herself.
Well, and if
you picked up some good money on that prop bet.
You're one of those people who believes that there's some nefarious reason behind, all this, and that it's all.
I love the conspiracy theories.
That it's all a setup. Then it would make sense that he would do it there because it would be the most viewed time to do it.
I love the ever-growing conspiracy theory that the NFL rigged the league for the Chiefs to win so that Taylor got more time, so that she can push a certain political prospect, as if the Chiefs haven't been kicking everybody's ass for almost a decade now.
Also, if I recall, she was approached and asked to do the Super Bowl earlier on last year, and she said no.
This is pre-Travis.
Yeah, and she said no.
Which of course she did.
Because she had already seen the script.
90,000-seat arenas.
She'd already seen the script. She knew that the Chiefs were going to be in the NFL and be in the Super Bowl. So she knew all she had to do was latch on to the most eligible bachelor. That would get her more air. It doesn't make sense, people. I mean, why can't they just be a couple? Leave them alone. I mean,
Leave Taylor alone.
Yeah, I mean, just a couple of rich people. I mean, I am not offended when they show her on the screen. People who are, I don't believe you. I just don't. I don't believe you. It's a trend to hate it, and your anger is not real. Okay? You're a fake.
For the record, I actually do know at least one person who genuinely believes the conspiracy theory that the league tilted the game so that Travis and Taylor could go get their political message spread by being Super Bowl champs. And I'm like, he's got a couple already, right? Like, he already has rings. And that she stands nightly in front of stadiums with 80,000 people in them. Like, if she was going to have a message to spread, it's not on the field after the Super Bowl where Patrick and Travis and Chris Jones and Willie Gay and all these other guys are. She's going to do it nightly in front of 80,000 people. What are we doing?
This is people who do not like Taylor trying to use politics to sway it to make more people hate her. That's all it is. None of this is real. Well, I don't like her. They show her too much. I know. We'll say she's on this side of the aisle, and then all this is this thing, and it'll take off, and then people will like her less. It's not working. And if you look at what she's going to have to do to make it to the Super Bowl, because she's going to be in Japan
the night before.
Yeah.
Then she's got to hop like a 12-hour flight. Now, the time zones work out where she can sleep on the plane. I did love that. I was like, she's going to be so tired. I'm like, she's not flying Delta Coach, my man. She's got a plane. She has probably got a plane that is nicer than the house any of us live in. Like, she's going to catch some Z's on the flight over. She'll be fine. I did love that everybody started freaking out because there was a flight at that point from Tokyo back to Kansas City, back to Vegas. That is flight 1987, which is her album's name, 1987. And everybody, and then they found out that they literally changed the flight number to that because they're trying to get her on it. And then the flight out of Vegas, I don't know if it's like back to Tokyo or back to Kansas City, but the flight out of Vegas after the Super Bowl is flight number 87, Travis's number. Listen, it's all publicity stunts, my dude. At the end of the day, the brand is all that mattered. But the fact is, she has done nothing at these games to promote her brand. She's just been a football fan of Travis.
So I do believe it has a whole lot to do with all the hating. But at the same time, why would she? Maybe she just wants to go see her guy play.
Yeah.
Maybe that's
literally it. I promise you, she's not. Hey, CBS, it's Taylor. I'm going to be at the game. If you could get me on TV for, I don't know, 41 seconds in total next week. Somebody pointed out yesterday, I saw the Cowherd segment where he like broke it down by time.
Yeah, I haven't watched. Cowherd is so lame and he's so fickle. And anyone who likes him, I just don't get you.
I saw the segment he did where he broke it down, and it was like she was on screen. Somebody pointed out that if you watch the Baltimore-Kansas City game, which she was at, they showed video of crab cakes for more time than they showed Taylor Swift, right? Like crab cakes, just the food, just crab cakes. And that's Baltimore's thing. It makes sense. They're a big blue crab place. Like crab cakes are kind of their thing.
Yeah, I love the crab cakes.
More time with a camera pointed at a crab cake than they spent it pointed at Taylor. All right, we got to take a break because when we come back, it's Thursday, and you know what that means. Fight Club with the great one. We got to wrap up the Royal Rumble, NXT, Monday Night Raw. It's all coming up. Before we do, happy birthday to my dog Skrilla. Back in the stream. Turning 21 today, I believe. That's not true, but happy birthday, big fella. Good to have you as part of the P1 every day.
Enjoy your AARP card. They will get you some wonderful discounts.
Yeah, Grandpa. All right, we're back after this. Rob Alonso and you on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. All right, be right back, guys. Good eye.
Welcome into the Fight Club, where I try to survive for the next 15 minutes without keeling over.
You've had the last 2 Thursdays off. You're fine.
And what was I doing those last 2 Thursdays? I was not having a good time. I am a plague bearer right now. You see me come and run. All right, lots of things going on. We didn't get a chance to talk about Royal Rumble. What did you think about the Royal Rumble? Did you think it was one of the better ones?
No, I thought there were good moments. There always are. I thought the Andrade return was good. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'm a big fan of that match having a little bit of everything. I like when there's some nostalgia pops, right? Some old guys making their return for no reason. I found I'm in the minority. I thought McAfee's spot was hilarious. All right. And I've got a lot of my wrestling buddies who were like, oh, you wasted it. Could have put in Otis. You could have put in a workhorse. And it's like,
come on.
Dude, it was funny. Like a comedy. Wrestling needs some comedy.
And he says he didn't know whether he did or not.
100% that's a work spot, but who cares? It was hilarious.
I think it's funnier if he didn't know.
Yeah.
Because of what he did. I mean, when you see him coming in there with those cowboy boots, it's like, he ain't doing this.
No, there was no way. He was never going to do anything in that match. It was a funny way to have McAfee, to give McAfee a comedy moment, but to also increase how BA almost and Braun Breaker both looked in that moment. To have this dude who has been a pretty good performer when he's been in a ring, Pat McAfee, to go, yeah, no, I would rather literally leave my first Royal Rumble in 38 seconds. Like, I thought it was a kind of a cool moment. I enjoyed it.
I mean, we saw Santino Marella back in the day just walk in, get knocked out, walk back out.
He's still got the shortest entry time, right?
He does
like
for
5 seconds
for guys, and it's Chelsea for women. But the thing is, if your buddies are worried about waste of time, almost is a waste of time. When's the last time you saw him? He walked out. I'm like, wow, he still works there. Same with MVP. Like, wow, because they haven't used them for anything.
Yeah, but I mean,
maybe they use them on house shows and I'm unaware of, but I mean, you haven't seen them in forever.
I think it is okay to have
you got to have that big guy out there so several people can get him out. And
I think it is, and we've had this discussion before. I think if you want to rejuvenate a guy, taking him off TV for a number of months is the way to do it, because when that guy comes back, you kind of, like, as a fan, you must just kind of hard reboot everything about that dude from the last time he was there. So if you are going to utilize him, and I think, by the way, he can play a great first go of it for Braun Breaker, right? Like, for him to come in and knock down a 7-foot behemoth would make him look that much more legitimate for the non-NXT WWE fans who are getting their first taste of Braun Breaker.
And by the way, and people have mentioned many times, and they're right, Braun Breaker is fast. He legitimately is really fast, and he looked faster than anybody else in the ring. I thought the women's was better than the men, but at the end there was some doubt in me, and I knew who 3 of the 4 were going to be, and it's like, okay, they played these stories up really well to put a little doubt that maybe Cody won't win it, which he indeed did win it, which is cool. But I thought for sure that there's a chance maybe Drew wins it or CM Punk.
Listen, you guys know I have a catchphrase for this, which is wrestling's at its best when it is unpredictable, right? When you do not know what the outcome is. This was the most predictable outcome they have done for years. So in order to combat.
So you're saying this was the Vince Rumble?
No,
basically.
this was.
Yeah, because if Vince was in charge, it would have been Drew McIntyre.
I don't know that that's true. The whole Bloodline story started under Vince, right? So I think that going in with this being the most unpredictable Rumble, we all know where this is going, right? We know that it's Cody Roman at WrestleMania. Yes,
do we? Because that's my next question.
They are doing to you with the Seth promo exactly what they did with the Punk promo going into the Rumble.
Yeah, but here's the thing: the Seth promo worked. I mean, I thought it worked really, really well.
Great. That's the point of a promo.
I know.
Right?
And I didn't think I'd be swayed. When he walked out, I'm like, yeah, there ain't nothing you could say to make me think it would be okay for Cody to go after that belt.
The point of a promo like that is to blur the line between kayfabe fan Lonzo and wrestling fan Lonzo. It's to blur that line between the half of us that talks about wrestling from the outside versus the half of us that sit in seats and watch the shows and are entertained by immersing ourselves in a dramatic acting role. They did it with Punk going into the Rumble because we all knew who was winning the Rumble. There was no question about that. The fact that they hung so hard on nobody has won it back-to-back since Stone Cold in the 90s.
Yeah, but at the same time, we knew Cody was going to win WrestleMania last year, win this match of WrestleMania. There's a good portion of people who thought that was going to happen.
Thinking it's going to happen and knowing the outcome are different. We knew Cody was winning that Rumble. There was not a question. Not only would I, Lonzo, this is true, I did bet on that. I won that bet because there was not a I do not bet on wrestling because you never know when the swerve's coming. And usually you got to give up a lot of money for juice.
I mean, TKO being in charge, there could be a chance that maybe they sway something.
They were not taking a story that's been running for 2.5 years and scrubbing it in the last 2 months of it.
Were you expecting The Rock to show up?
No, I was not. Because here's the thing, I don't expect Rock to show up at Mania either. And if he does, he's up against Seth, not Roman, because they are not scrubbing the ninth inning, as Paul likes to say. They're not scrubbing the ninth inning of a story 2 months before it happens for Dwayne or anybody else. They're going to have this thing finished up the way it's always been written, because if you tell a story for 2.5 years and you scrub it in the ninth inning, then why the hell am I going to invest in anything else that you're trying to tell? There's no reason to.
All right. So other than your fantasy booking right there, who do you think does face Seth? Is it going to be Drew or is it going to be Gunther?
I mean, listen, there's more unpredictability to that than there is who wins Cody Roman version 2. But I think you mentioned the two biggest possibilities. I think the other possibility is Dwayne, because they're going to want that if they can get it and he's available and he's obviously back in the mix now. I personally would love to see it be Drew McIntyre. That being said, if you're going to start running that angle now, you got to run that angle now. Like you need to pull the trigger on it now. Is Gunther going to drop the belt I think Gunther's wrestling for the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania, and I think he leaves it in the ring. And then I think he starts, because to me, Gunther's next in, or should be, friend of the show, Gunther. Sorry, let's be clear. Friend of the show, Gunther, should be next in line to make a run at Cody in the big belt. And it's a believable threat to create
his Money in the Bank cashed in before WrestleMania.
That's the oddball here. That's the wild card, right? But the question is, where is he going? If you cash it in on Cody, I think Damian's got to lose. I think the only belt he can cash it in is on Seth.
Right.
I can see him cashing it in at Mania at the end of that match, depending on how you play. Now, I'll tell you what I would love if I'm a fantasy book for a minute. Drew v. Seth. Drew beats Seth. Gunther cashes in, immediately takes the belt off of Drew. Tell me you don't want a 2-month Drew v. Gunther program.
Yeah, but not I mean, he doesn't have the Money in the Bank right now.
Damian. Sorry.
Damian.
Yeah. Damian v. Drew.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
I'm fine with that. And they're kind of building that on the side a little bit too. The women's Royal Rumble, I think, was better. And I really enjoyed everything, including Jordan Grace coming out, who I had never seen before, but I'd heard of before. And that girl she looks like what a women's wrestler. She reminds you of, to me, Glamazon a little bit in her build.
You know this about me. I don't subscribe to the he or she blanks like a wrestler should blank. Look, act, talk, walk, wrestle. To me, wrestling, like anything else, is made up of a bunch of different people. This is the same reason I don't go, that guy doesn't host his show the way that a show host should.
That I've tried not to fight the entire day because I don't feel like it, and he just wants to go right.
No, it's not a fight. It's a disagreement.
Like,
there is a difference.
All right.
Not everything is sunshine and rainbows.
Yeah, that spark in your eye, I saw it.
To me, because and we've had this conversation before. I think for so long, this company was under Vince's thumb that you as a fan, and I say the royal you, not just you, but the royal you, were trained to accept this is what it is supposed to be, as opposed to, why would you not have a ton of different people from a ton of different backgrounds with a ton of different looks and a ton of different styles and a ton of different personalities all competing the way that a real sport, if it was real sports organization would. I like the variety they had in the Women's Rumble. I do. I like everything from.
I think Chelsea Green became even more of a star.
Yeah, I think Chelsea did great.
Yeah.
I thought Jade looked spectacular.
Yeah. See, I forgot all about Jade.
Yeah,
and then she came
Jade
out.
Was my in fact, I actually had said when you weren't here last week in the preview, it's
you
either
keep
going to
pointing
be.
out, I'm not happy that I wasn't.
Oh, I know you weren't, but I tried my best to get through it anyway. My pick was Bayley, and if it wasn't Bayley, it was going to be Jade Cargill. I mean, they built her up to everything except win the damn thing. And by the way, the Women's Rumble to me, every bit as good as the dudes.
Yeah,
every bit as good.
Again, I liked it better, and I know I'm in the minority, but I like Nia Jax's run this time. I do. I like it. She's legitimately what she's supposed to be, and not that pretending to be a monster thing, just coming out and doing what she should do. And her threatening Bayley Monday, I thought was great. And I still don't know which direction Bayley's going to go.
Oh, listen, that group's getting blown up by Mania. She will be by herself by Mania. Now, she's up against.
Here's how you know. She started doing the top knot thing.
Yeah.
When she started doing that.
Slowly morph over to the side. Look, I think, and by the way,
it's all psychology.
So. Bayley's done some of her best work over the last year.
She has.
Trying to keep this group from falling apart and forming little cliques off to the side. I like what she has done. I think she's going to get another run at the title. And it is time for the inevitable Bayley hug life face turn.
You know, it's also time for it. It is time for the bloodline to end. I mean,
WrestleMania.
Yeah, because
that's been the story.
I know, but
this is why it's predictable.
It's boring. It's always going to be Solo's going to come out and interfere, and that's how Roman wins. I would like to see a different way. Let him win straight up. I mean,
but that's not the character. The character is a chicken boat heel. That's the point. The point. If Roman comes out and starts winning matches legitimately and genuinely, then why is he the heel? Right? That's the heel.
So a heel can't win. I mean, he can cheat.
No, they can't.
He can cheat, but he doesn't need Solo to do it every time.
We have entered an era of wrestling where people are unashamed to root for the bad guy, right? When Roman came out at the Rumble, go back and watch the crowd sweep cam. There were ones in the air everywhere. People are unapologetic about cheering for the bad guy. Look at what's happening. The Miz can't be a true heel anymore. Because every time he does, we all love it because of how good he is at it. You have got to have something that makes all the people who still want to put the ones up still kind of hate the guy a little bit. And Solo's that guy.
I also hate that the R-Truth thing appears to be just about done. I was really enjoying that.
I don't think it has to be. I think it has to be. Why not have R keep doing his best?
Well, Awesome Truth might actually win the tag team titles, and that would be.
My bad.
All right. This Sunday.
Wait.
What?
No love for 1 and 2 in the men's match and how damn good that stare down was?
Oh,
come on.
Boring.
Get out.
Yeah, very boring.
Bro, I put the phone down.
I've moved on from that.
Oh, no.
Yeah. It's
Jimmy
just
J
not.
staring each other down.
You want to be more exciting, bring in their other brother. I mean,
their other brother?
They got another brother.
So you're telling me the two brothers that have been orbiting each other for a year.
It's done.
It's not done.
It's very much done. Yeah. When they switched
even if the bloodline story's done, Jimmy and Jay finally fighting each other was a moment I did not expect there. I thought that was a Mania match. It still may be a Mania match.
Yeah, they'll get back together and everything will be wonderful and beautiful. I'm bored with it.
I loved it.
All right, NXT Vengeance Day is this Sunday night. It is a premium live event. And a couple matches on the card. NXT Championship match, Ilya Dragunov versus Trick Williams. Who you got?
Like the quick answer is Trick. But I suspect Carmelo.
This may or may not be for Nerfwall.
The quick answer is Trick. But I kind of want to lean the other direction and say that he does not win it because Carmelo gets involved. I am going to go with Ilya holds on to it. It's my risky pick of the card.
I'm
crazy over.
Yeah, and I'm looking at this trying to decide who would make a better run on the main card right now, and it probably will be Trick size-wise, but Ilya's
He's a
intensity and everything. You know, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go with Trick. I think it's Trick's time.
Okay.
It doesn't mean that that there won't be interference, because there will be. But I think all the problems will come in a match before. Speaking of the match before, Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic Finals, Braun Breaker and Baron Corbin, the Wolf Dogs, versus Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams.
I freaking love these dudes, man. I love these dudes so much. All right. I dig the Wolf Dogs. And
the fact that Corbin's starting to embrace it.
Yeah. I dig the Wolf Dogs. I am having a hard time with this one because of the other one, right? Because of the title match later in the night and how these two kind of play off of each other. I am going to go with the Wolf Dogs win this. I'm going to go with they play it because of the either Trick is tired from the first match or preparing, focused in. Mello gets mad at him. Mello costs him the second match because he cost him the first match. I'm going to go Wolf Dogs.
All right, NXT Women's Championship match between Lyra Valkyria and Roxanne Perez. I mean,
coin flip.
Good for you, Booker. You get your girl pushed a ton. She's just doesn't do anything for me. And neither does Lyra. But the creepy single white female buddy that she has, Paxton, I believe. I'm gonna go with Lyra to win this.
Are we going winner or who walks out with the belt? Roxanne wins by disqualification.
Okay.
Lyra keeps the belt. Roxanne wins the match.
I could definitely see that happen. All right. North American Championship match, Obi Femi versus Dragon Lee. And Obi Femi is kind of a monster.
Yeah, he's a big boy. He's a big boy. He can go. He wins. This is the easiest pick on the card for me.
I agree. Dragon Lee's doing a whole lot more on the main roster. Just a couple more. No disqualification match, Dijak versus Joe Gacy. I'm loving the Joe Gacy thing. I mean, he went from cult leader to just flat out psycho.
Yeah.
And when he was on commentary, I loved that. I thought he did a really good job. All Dijak does, all he do is lose. I'm gonna go with Joe Gacy.
Yep, same here. Stories about Gacy. He loses, you lose all that momentum.
All right. And the 2024 Ladies of Chase U calendar goes on sale, which means there'll probably be a thing there. You okay with that? Is this like going back to old WWE?
Wait. Are we not going to talk about the 6 mixed tag?
Yeah, but I want to talk about this first and want to do that last. Okay. Yeah. So are we going back to the old Divas era of, or is this making fun of Sports Illustrated?
Yes, I think it is. I think it is a couple of different angles, but I also think having how fun is the Andre Chase having to deal with, I don't want to lose the U, but also this isn't how the U should be run, and having to bounce back and forth, the power struggle angle, Thea caught in the middle. This has for no reason become my second favorite thing on NXT.
Yeah, when this whole thing started, the Chase U thing, it's that's kind of, never thought it would still be going this long.
And good. It's they've told multiple different angles through it, and I loved it.
All right, and finally, because I did save it for last, the family, Tony D'Angelo, Stax, Adriana Rizzo, versus OTM and Jada Parker. I think it's time for the family to get a victory here. I like Adriana Rizzo. I do.
Big Ange.
She's not Big Ange anymore.
She's Big Ange forever.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
I love the family.
But
they're so good.
OTM, there's something about them I don't believe.
I love it. I love they feel like genuinely the most real characters on the show. They really feel like the dudes.
It's crime time without the comedy. And it's just not.
No, I disagree. They feel to me like genuine dudes who are going to walk in a street fight you, and I appreciate.
They look like extras on a Lethal Weapon movie. It's just and scripts just
They just look like
even though he legitimately does come from that background. If you read about him, he just doesn't.
Well, it's because they spent so long playing him as Reginald that he ended up becoming Reginald. It's like seeing Robert Downey Jr. in a movie now. I just see Iron Man.
Yeah, me too.
Right? I just see Iron Man at this point. They did that to that guy, and that kind of stank for his future possibilities.
Tony Stank.
Hey, we got to take a break, huh? We come back here in just a minute. We'll get what the X is going on, and then we will call it a day. It's Rob, it's Lonzo, it's you, it's the Rob Brown Show, it's the Fan Upstate. Do.
East Carolina 71-60. Presbyterian 80-73 winners over South Carolina Upstate. Gardner-Webb beat UNC Asheville 80-73. Charleston Southern 63-60 winners at Radford. In overtime, Furman beat the Citadel 82-79. Chattanooga over Western Carolina 91-85. Sanford beat Wofford 81-79. The Bulls beat the Hornets 117-110 last night. Kobe White 35 points for Chicago. Nikola Vukovic 22 points and 12 rebounds.
Nikola Vukovic.
Consecutive loss. Ayo Dosunmu with 16 points for the Bulls. Miles Bridges 30 points and 15 rebounds in the losing effort for Charlotte. The Fan Upstate is your home for Furman Paladins basketball, play-by-play live all season long. Download the Odyssey app, search the Fan Upstate, and listen anywhere on your phone. I'm Chuck Sanders. That's the Sports Flash on the Fan Upstate.
If you're hiring, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack, like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a
I wouldn't say it was boring, James. I would say that the highlight spots were spread out across it.
Also disappointed in Kofi. I mean, Kofi, you expect something, and
yeah, I think the last couple of years, frankly, the spot just got missed. Like, I think the spot just got missed this year. I'm sure. I think when he was going out, I think there was supposed to be something that happened, and it just got missed. Because he had the one where he like tried to jump to the wall, and he came up short. He just missed. I don't think they're done with it. I think he's just missed the spot a couple of times.
Which means a new HR manager will be the first hire to fall.
Then we'll need to staff up the warehouse.
Indeed can help them hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
If you're looking for the most epic place on earth, let's start at the base of a massive waterfall. Then trek through the thick jungle. Then climb to the peak of a snowy mountaintop. Then once you get there, keep going.
I beat the good guy playthrough for one of the good guy playthroughs for Baldur's Gate yesterday.
Oh, like finished it?
Yeah, it was pretty easy. Because you build all these alliances, I had a ton of people to help me. It's like, okay, so this is what this is supposed to be like, as opposed to me burning so many bridges that only have like 2 or 3 factions that are okay with me. That's like, as the bad guy, you're only going to get bad guy factions to help.
While in some states, a rate could increase with high-risk driving. Generally, safer drivers will save with driveways. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company in Philly, Northbrook, Illinois.
From the Ingles Markets,
There's a dragon that had enough guys left over that they took the dragon down. I was like, yes. This guy had like 500 hit points.
And off we go, ladies and gentlemen. The final segment of the Rob Brown Show here on the Fan Upstate goes now. Welcome back, my friends, to the show that ends in like 8 minutes or so. We'll get there. Hope you'll be
Well,
part
less than that because we go to commercials.
Yeah,
and
that's
so
true.
it's more like
You get it.
3 or 4 minutes.
You get it. Either way. So we have a couple of different things that we have talked about so far. The PGA Tour $3 billion investment. I love that. I'm probably actually going to make a short video about that later because I'm really intrigued in the timeline with like Rory flipping the script and the $3 billion, a good chunk of it going back to the players. Like this actually feels for the first time since the Live Tour split. This really feels like the first time that the PGA Tour has truly been proactive. This feels like the first time the PGA Tour has actually put a bullet in the chamber to try to get something done, as opposed to just threatening and honestly not even threatening, really just kind of bowing down, right? This feels like the first time that the PGA Tour has taken a shot, has loaded one up and taken a shot, and I'm glad to see it.
You may not have recognized the lyric, so feels like the first time.
Feels like the very first time.
Okay, all right.
I don't speak in song lyrics all the time, but yes, I do.
But
yes, I do.
You just did that. Yeah, you did.
And now, the Rob Brown Show presents Twitter.
Sorry, I mean there was a transition there, and
That's all good. It worked out.
and I took it
Nah, it worked out fine. That's why you're the executive producer.
as opposed to those normal
Just
producers.
those regular producers.
Yeah, this is like those lower level. All right.
It's on me. I fixed it. I fixed it. Don't worry.
I was gonna say, I don't think
did
I
it.
did that. All right, it's time to find out what the X is going on. I will tell Rob what is Xing, and he will tell us why, yo.
Dork.
The first thing that's Xing is Argyle.
So Argyle, is that coming out today? Coming out soon?
It's today. Yeah.
I'm really intrigued by this movie. Bryce Dallas Howard, Superman, Samuel L. Jackson. And apparently the theme is the Bryce Dallas Howard John Cena plays an author who writes a spy novel. And then it turns out that she wrote this novel, but like it's a real thing. She just didn't know it when she wrote it. And then she gets involved with the guy. And also there's a cat. I don't really know how the cat plays into it, but it looks like a good solid mix of like a classic spy / sci-fi fantasy / John Cena's in it.
It looks very Kingsman-esque.
Yeah, it does.
And
which, by the way, I love the Kingsman. All of them.
Not a bad thing to be like. There's just something in the back of my mind like this is probably not going to be as good as you think it is, and that concerns me. That little itch usually works out pretty good for me.
Sure.
To the point where if I wasn't sick, I probably would go see it tonight, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to wait a little bit on this because there's something about it that I'm a little concerned about. But it looks like it should be good. That doesn't mean it will be.
That's fair. I'm actually really excited about it. I don't know why. I don't have a reason to be.
I think the actual spy is the cat. That's probably what's bothering me because I think in the end you're going to find out the cat is actually Argyle.
Yeah. I'm intrigued.
All right. The next thing that's Xing is Hooters.
Hooters is trending because yesterday I told the story about me being a judge for the Hooters bikini contest back in like 2008, 2009. And obviously it has been a nonstop conversation on the American airwaves ever since. I don't know why it's trending.
I don't know either. And, I clicked on Hooters and you know what you're going to get.
I'm so proud of you.
You know what you're going to get.
I'm so proud of you.
And I
look at you lowering yourself to our level for the show, for the brand.
It's, for the brand. Absolutely.
I appreciate that. I mean that.
All you get is, I don't know. I don't know why they're trending. And do they really need a reason? I guess.
Dude, we've talked about it before. Hooters wings, top notch.
Yeah, I'm sure that's why it's trending. I don't know. I don't think they're in financial problems or anything like that.
Can't imagine.
Yeah, I just every other picture is Hooters waitresses. The other ones are not. That's all I'm going to say. All right, the next thing that's Xing is Ferrari.
Oh, I do know why it's trending.
Okay, why is it trending?
Have you heard the name Nick Adams?
Sounds familiar.
Nick Adams is either the craziest person in America or the most hilarious online troll, and he constantly talks about Hooters as an alpha male. He just lives at the Hooters, and he made a Taylor Swift Hooters joke, and then it took off because the internet is very random.
Okay, so it's an influencer type thing, and that's
yeah, but it's I don't know how to explain it to you. If you really want to laugh your ass off, go follow him on Twitter. He's hysterical. I don't know if he's real or a troll, but that makes the best kind of follow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, Ferrari is Xing.
We talked about this earlier in the show. Lewis Hamilton, the most successful F1 driver maybe ever, is switching from Mercedes to Ferrari. Something that he said a year ago that he would never do. Well, he done it. He made the switch over to Ferrari. He'll be taking over next year in that seat. And I know that for most of us, that's not really that big of a deal, but like it kind of is. This would be like if Dabo retired and then was like, by the way, I'm coaching the Gamecocks next year. You'd be like, what?
Okay, that's that.
Yeah,
that
it's
would,
a pretty big switch.
All right, and finally, the last thing that's Xing is Squid Game.
You know, I didn't ever watch it. I've heard it's real good.
Neither did I. I was
just never
counting
got
on.
around to it.
I was counting on you watching. I think the second season is
season
coming
2
out.
just got announced.
Yeah.
I guess I got to go back and watch it. I just never did. Like, it
Do you
never
have
really-
to? Are you going to? You're probably not.
I got like all these other things.
Yeah, I'm
to
probably
watch.
not either.
My list is growing day by day.
It is Xing and popular apparently though.
That's it for us, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for hanging out. Hope you enjoyed the radio broadcast. We'll be back tomorrow to do it all over again. But, and I promise you, even better on a Friday. That guy over there, that's Alonzo. My name is Rob Brown. I appreciate spending your mornings with us here on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate later. Yeah. All right, kids, I'm turning it off before Lonzo falls apart on live video camera for the whole internet to see. Thank you guys for hanging out. You're all spectacular people. We'll see you back here
You
tomorrow.
don't
Have a
get to
lovely rest of
watch,
your
you weirdos.
day. Bye.